Chapter 147. There were a total of 3 low-rank Earth realm manuals and 5 top-rank mortal realm manuals. If he were to exchange them with the sect, it would be 9,250 low-rank spirit stones, which was almost equivalent to all of Yi Chen's spirit stone savings. It was undoubtedly a huge fortune. Putting away the manuals, Yi Chen looked around. On the other side of the wall, there was a foot-long yellow gourd, tied with a red string. With a wave of his hand, the yellow gourd fell into Yi Chen's hand. He shook it, and a small friction sound came from the gourd. Pellet. Without thinking, Yi Chen opened the cork of the gourd. Instantly, a fragrant smell came into his nose. Pouring one into his hand, Yi Chen took a closer look. The pellet was the size of a pinky finger, and it was crystal clear with a hint of yellow. There was a faint glow on the surface, and the fragrance was even more intense. Just by taking a breath of the fragrance, the Zhen Qi in his body had improved. Although he could not recognize the name and function of the pellet, Yi Chen knew that it was definitely not an ordinary item. After putting away the manuals and the pellet, there was nothing else in the secret chamber. Yi Chen let out a breath and walked out. The tomb was unimaginably large. The passageways inside extended in all directions. It was impossible to tell how many forks there were. It was like a maze. At first he was curious, but as time went by, Yi Chen got tired of it. Anyone would be annoyed if they were to wander around in the winding tunnels. Plus, there were not as many treasures in this tomb as he had imagined. It was already commendable for Yi Chen to be able to find a secret chamber. After walking through a tunnel, a sword light suddenly shot out from the side. Courting death! Yi Chen did not even look at it as he twisted his sword back. Pucci! A martial disciple fell to the ground with his hands on his neck, his eyes wide open. Taking a low-rank Earth realm manual from the disciple, Yi Chen smiled bitterly. This person should have been trapped in the tomb as well and could not get out. Unfortunately, at this moment, not only did he not find a way out, but he also killed people for their treasures. He deserved to die. On the other side of the tomb, rumble. A wall collapsed. Lin Yu growled in a low voice. Damn it! Where the hell is the exit? His luck wasn't as good as Yi Chen's. He only got 1 low-rank Earth realm manual and 3 or 4 peak-rank human realm manuals from the disciples who were trapped in the tomb. He didn't get anything else. When he wanted to go out, he realized that he couldn't find the way back and was completely trapped in the tomb. I don't believe there are many walls in front of me. When Lin Yu became determined, he didn't care about anything else and kept walking in a straight line. No matter how many walls there were, he would smash them down. Compared to Yi Chen and Lin Yu, Yin Wuqing seemed to be much calmer. He took out a small and delicate wooden mouse from his bosom and embedded a low-grade spirit stone into its abdomen. Creak! The wooden mouse turned and ran in the other direction. Following closely behind the wooden mouse, Yin Wuqing quickly arrived at the intersection where he came from. There was also a wooden mouse. The 2 wooden mice were together. The lovesick mice are indeed more clever than humans. Putting away the 2 wooden mice, Yin Wuqing walked into the giant whirlpool and disappeared. 2 hours had passed. Hard work paid off. Yi Chen finally found the exit. Although it wasn't the entrance where he came from, he didn't have the time to think about it. He stepped into the whirlpool. Swoosh, 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 hearing the sound of wind. Yi Chen opened his eyes and saw nothing but emptiness around him. There seemed to be no end to it, and the misty clouds had gathered together. Lowering his head, he saw that the ground was getting bigger and bigger in his sight. He was in the air. This exit was indeed amazing. Activating the crane shadow steps, Yi Chen's body instantly became much lighter. He shook his arms and glided towards the highland far away. In front of the highland was a huge basin. In the middle of the basin, a fierce battle was taking place. 3 disciples were surrounding another disciple, and blood was spattering on the grassland. Yuan Henkong, I've given you everything. Don't go too far. The disciple who was being surrounded was wearing a blue robe. It was Lu Hanshan. The leading disciple laughed out proudly and said, "I want everything. I want to kill you as well. What can you do to me? You can only blame yourself for being too weak. You're just taking advantage of the fact that you're outnumbered. If you have the ability, fight me one-on-one. If I die, I'll deserve it. If you lose, I won't kill you. What do you think?" Lu Hanshan's eyes were gloomy. He knew that the situation was not in his favor. If he tried to save face, he would only end up dead. The only thing he could do was to hope that his opponent would accept his challenge and have a fair fight with him, so that he could find an opportunity to escape. As for killing this guy, he had never thought about it. This guy was Yuan Henjing's blood brother, who was known as the Eagle Killer. Yuan Henjing had always been protective of his people, not to mention his brother. Even if you killed a dog or a chicken, he would still kill your whole family. Yuan Henkong said scornfully, "Do you think I'm an idiot if I don't take advantage of you? Cut the crap, kill him." The three of them each launched their own attacks towards Lu Hanshan. East Rising, Purple Chi, Great Monument Suppression. Facing three disciples who were just as powerful as him, Lu Hanshan boosted his yin qi to its limit, drew a bridge-like stream of purple mist from the air, and boosted his power to a great extent. After that, he threw out a gigantic purple monument to protect himself. Bang! 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 The attacks launched by the three disciples were incomparably violent. The purple monument shook violently, and countless cracks appeared on it. Break! As a core disciple of the Sky Eagle Castle, which was a rank 7 institution, although Yuan Henkong was not as powerful as his brother, he was definitely one of the most powerful martial artists under the clasping Yuan realm. He held a pair of purple golden hammers with both of his hands and heavily smashed on the monument. Crack! The monument was shattered, and blood gushed out of the corner of Lu Hanshan's mouth. Die! Yuan Henkong laughed out loud, while swinging his hammers towards Lu Hanshan's head. Piss off! Lu Hanshan's eyes popped out, and he threw a punch towards the purple golden hammers. Clang! Fire sparks flew in all directions, and a strong shockwave spread out, even leaving a deep layer of grass on the ground. Right at this moment, another disciple took the opportunity to sneak up behind Lu Hanshan, ripped his protective zhenqi apart, and pressed his palm on his back. Puff! Lu Hanshan let out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale. He had suffered a serious internal injury. Let's see how you are going to take this. Yuan Henkong's face twisted. He took a step forward and leapt high into the air, while his purple golden hammers burst out with a dazzling golden light, once again smashing towards Lu Hanshan. Puff! At this critical moment, a beam of sword qi darted over from afar and hacked on Yuan Henkong's purple golden hammers. The purple golden hammers flew out of Yuan Henkong's hands, and Yuan Henkong was greatly shocked. He stepped back once his feet landed on the ground, and regrouped with the other two disciples. Lu Hanshan turned around and said in surprise, "Brother Yi!" A disciple lightly landed beside Lu Hanshan, and that was indeed Yi Qin. He glanced at Lu Hanshan, who was badly injured, frowned, and said, "Brother Luo, you are injured." "Compared to my life, a little injury is nothing." Seeing Yi Qin, Lu Hanshan secretly let out a sigh of relief. If the two of them joined hands, their chances of survival would be greatly increased. At least they wouldn't be able to do anything to them. Not to mention that he didn't know how powerful Yi Qin was. He could sense that Yi Qin's aura of sharpness was even more powerful than before. He estimated that Yi Qin had already reached the level of the North Snow Fast Blade Lynch. Yuan Henkong glanced at Yi Qin and found that he was only at the late condensing reality realm. He grinned viciously and said, "Another one who wants to die. Just now you knocked away my purple golden hammers. I am going to smash your head, tear you into 5 pieces, and scatter them on this basin. Brother Yuan, he has a low-rank great weapon. Kill him and take it." Indeed, look at the bulging big bag around his waist. There must be a lot more treasures. Yuan Hunkong picked up the purple golden hammers from the ground and said, "What's the rush? In my eyes, this guy is already a dead man. As for treasures, I can share some with you." "Thank you, Brother Yuan." Yi Chen sneered and said, "If you can take one sword attack from me, I will spare your lives." "Arrogant! How dare you? How dare you? We will kill you." The three of them showed an intense killing intent. They pushed their Jinqi to its limit and rushed towards Yi Chen. Cut! Taking a step forward with his left foot, Yi Chen swung his sword down. Puff! A thick stream of sword qi flashed across the waists of the three disciples, leaving a 10-meter long and meter-deep sword mark on the grassland behind them. Grass chips and mud flew up into the air. In the next moment, the bodies of the three disciples were cut in half and scattered on the ground. What? He killed 3 disciples with one sword attack. Lu Hanshan was so excited that he started coughing. Although he knew that Yi Chen was very powerful, he didn't think that he could be this powerful. He had killed 3 disciples who were at the same level as him with one sword attack. This was not something that Lynch could compete with. Even 3 Lynches wouldn't be able to do this. However, Yi Chen hadn't even reached the clasping Yuan realm yet. How could he be so powerful? No, that sword attack just now seemed to have absorbed all of my soul and spirit, as if it was the only thing left in the world. Could it be that Brother Yi Chen has already mastered the sword intent that all sword artists dream of? Brother Yi, was that the sword intent? Lu Hanshan hurriedly asked. Yi Chen nodded. It was indeed the sword intent, haha. No wonder you could kill 3 people with one sword attack. A sword artist who has mastered the sword intent can challenge people who are at a higher level as easily as eating or drinking. This is not something that ordinary people can imagine. Lu Hanshan was very happy. He was the son of the leader of the Sky Cloud Martial School, and everything he did was for the development of the school. Now a peerless genius had emerged in the school, which would definitely make the Sky Cloud Martial School even more powerful in the future. But you killed Yuan Hengying's brother. This is not a simple thing. After the joy, Lu Hanshan started to worry. Yuan Hengying, the killer eagle, was way more powerful than Yuan Hengkong. If he knew that Yi Chen had killed his brother, he would definitely chase after them at all costs. Although Yi Chen had mastered the sword intent and was able to kill any disciple under the clasping Yuan realm within a second, and was extremely powerful, he might still not be able to rival Yuan Hengying. Yi Chen said, "There's no one here anyway. It's not a big deal to kill him." "You're right. Let's get out of here as soon as possible." Lu Hanshan didn't want to stay here any longer, because he didn't want others to see them together with Yuan Hengkong's dead body. Not long after the two of them left, a human silhouette walked out from behind a tree on the high ground in the distance. He chuckled and said, "If we run into Yuan Hengying, we can use this as a life-saving talisman and ask him to let us go." Chapter 148. In the lush forest, Luo Hanshan slowly let out a mouthful of foul air that contained a strong smell of blood, opened his eyes, and said, "Internal injuries can't be healed within a short period of time. Fortunately, I've already recovered 70 to 80% of my power." Yi Chen said, "Don't worry, the Heavenly Dream Ancient Region has just started. We can wait for a few days. This time, thanks to you, Brother Yi, otherwise I would have lost my life." Thinking about being surrounded and killed by those people, Luo Hanshan still had a lingering fear. Yi Chen smiled and said nothing. 5 days passed in a flash. During the day, the two of them would wander around, looking for treasures, and at night, Lu Hanshan would meditate to heal his wounds, while Yi Chen would absorb the Yuan Qi from spirit stones, trying his best to break through to the peak of the late condensing reality realm. Early in the morning, the two of them had just come out of their meditative state when a 7-colored light soared into the sky thousands of miles to the east. It connected the heavens and the earth, piercing through the blue dome of heaven. The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace has opened. Luo Han said in shock. Yi Chen nodded. The most important thing in the Heavenly Dream Ancient Region was not those treasures, manuals, or herbs, but the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace, which could help people break through to the next level. Normally, this mysterious palace would not show up and would only open at a certain time. Some people speculated that only those with enough blood and chi could open the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace in advance, which was not completely unreasonable. Over 100 years ago, in order to avoid losing too many of their disciples, all of those institutions signed an agreement, which stated that disciples from those institutions were not allowed to kill each other in the Heavenly Dream Ancient Region, or else they would be severely punished. However, even after everyone had been sent out, the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace still hadn't appeared. The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace has opened. Brother Luo, let's go. All right. The two of them activated their Qinggong and flew towards the 7-colored light pillar. Once the colorful light beam appeared, all the disciples from all over the Heavenly Dream Ancient Region had seen it. Haha, the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace has finally opened. As long as you can get in, you will have a 10% chance of breaking into the Clasping Yuan realm. I have been stuck at the peak of late condensing reality realm for more than a year. This time I have to succeed. You guys are always going against me. Wait till I reach the Clasping Yuan realm. I will crush you all one by one. How arrogant. Just wait and see how I kill you in the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. Whether they were exploring alone or fighting with others, most of the sect disciples put down what they were doing and rushed toward the 7-colored light pillar with all their might. The airflow was like a blade, scraping over. Yi Chen and Luo Han were like two gigantic birds, flying in the air at an extremely high speed. Occasionally, they would land on top of a mountain. His ears twitching slightly, Yi Chen lowered his head and noticed the scene at the foot of the mountain. Beside the clear river, a young girl and a young man were confronting each other. The girl's forehead was covered in sweat, and there were dozens of sword marks on her clothes. The strength of these sword marks was just right, only tearing her clothes and not hurting her skin. Dozens of steps away, the young man was calm and unruffled. He held his sword in his hand and looked like he had the situation under his control. Little beauty, your Qinggong isn't bad, but it's a pity that you've met me, young Master Chun. Surrender obediently. The young man was wearing bright green clothes, and his eyes were full of arrogance and lust. His pair of cunning eyes stared at the girl's exposed skin, and he licked his lips from time to time. The girl's face was as cold as ice, and said, I can't believe that a disciple of a big martial institution like you would do such a despicable thing. Even if you die, I won't let you off easily. In front of me. Even if you want to die, it won't be that easy. The young man grinned evilly, shook the sword in his hand, and thrust it out. All of a sudden, the sword light was as bright as a spring breeze, so warm that people couldn't even raise their hands. When the girl realized what was going on, a sword had already been pressed against her neck, and that cold sword edge was only half an inch away from cutting her main artery. In the air, Luo Han said to Yi Chen, This man is young Master Chun, the head disciple of the Sky Serpent Country's Rank 7 institution, the Zenith Dark Cult. He is ranked 72nd in the Hidden Dragon ranking, and he likes women. God knows how many girls or female disciples from big families have been harmed by him. Only because his grandfather is the Zenith Dark Cult's head elder, he has been safe and sound all this time. Since he's a pervert, I'll just kill him. Yi Chen remained expressionless, pulled out his sword, and launched a hack. Beside the river, when young Master Chun was about to move, he suddenly felt that his body had gone cold, and then he lost consciousness. The river behind him was suddenly cut off, and a tens of meters long deep sword mark appeared on the river. The girl sensed that something was wrong, so she activated her Jin Qi and leapt backwards. In the next moment, young Master Chun's body was cut in half from the middle. The cut was smooth and clean, and blood splashed out. Was there someone just now? The girl raised her head confusedly, revealing a beautiful face. It was Ji Xuyen, a core disciple of the Emerald Martial Palace. In her sight, two silhouettes flashed past above her head, turning into tiny black dots within a blink of an eye. However, she soon recognized Yi Chen, because the sharp aura released from his body had become even sharper. Pursing her lips, Ji Xuyen had a complicated look on her face. She still remembered what she had said to Yi Chen a year ago. Dragons don't live with snakes. It's impossible for them to be together. But now it seemed that it was indeed true that dragons don't live with snakes, but their roles had been completely reversed. She was the snake, and Yi Chen was the real dragon, a real dragon that was showing its true power, soaring in the sky. Thinking of this, Ji Xuyen bit her lips so hard that blood started flowing out. 1,000 miles might be a long distance for ordinary people, and it would take them 10 days to half a month to get there. But for late condensing reality realm warriors, it would only take them half an hour. Stepping on the ground, Lu Hanshan raised his head and looked around, then said in shock, "This colorful light beam has covered the entire lake with a radius of tens of miles. No wonder we can see it so clearly from thousands of miles away, as if it's right in front of our eyes." Yi Chen was also shocked. The colorful light beam had a diameter of tens of miles, and its height was immeasurable. It had already pierced through the sky and reached deep into the void. No one knew how far the colorful light beam had reached. It was as if the entire Heavenly Dream ancient region had been shrouded by this light beam. More and more disciples rushed over and gathered around the lake. The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace must be under the lake. Let's go down first. A core disciple from one of the institutions didn't change his direction and rushed into the colorful light beam. What happened next was horrifying. This colorful light beam was like a beam of light that could destroy the starry sky. Those disciples who had rushed into the light beam didn't even have the time to let out a scream before their bodies silently disintegrated and merged with the colorful light beam. Those who followed behind couldn't stop their bodies. Some had their arms disintegrated. Some had their heads disintegrated. Some had half of their bodies disintegrated. But not even a single drop of blood flowed out from the wounds. Divine light of extinction. This is the divine light of extinction. Someone yelled out. Hearing this, Lu Hanshan frowned and said, "The divine light of extinction only exists in the top sky. I didn't expect that the Heavenly Dream ancient region would also have it. If it really is the divine light of extinction, even Sea of Souls realm warriors wouldn't be able to get through it. Only life and death realm warriors could rely on their defensive power to get in, but it would still be dangerous. Is this divine light of extinction really that powerful?" Yi Chen saw that the colorful light beam looked like a dream. He thought that it didn't have any destructive power. But now, it seemed that the more beautiful something was, the more destructive it would be. Lu Hanshan nodded and said, "There are many kinds of Yuan Qi in this world. Some Yuan Qi can combine in pairs and form a destructive Qi. And if more Yuan Qi is combined, it can transform into a divine light. Some of these divine lights can heal wounds. Some can make people hundreds of times more energetic, and some can be even more powerful. For example, this divine light of extinction, anything that is shrouded by it will be turned into ashes, including souls, which will completely disappear from this world." While the two of them were talking, over 100 people had gathered around the lake, and the number was growing rapidly. Lu Hanshan, Brother Yi. Two silhouettes flew over. They were Zhu Mei and Su Jing. Yi Chen asked, "Eldest sister, senior sister Su, are you all right?" Zhu Mei grinned and said, "We're lucky. We met each other not long after we were teleported in. I'm a bit ashamed, but I think I should give up my position as the eldest sister. Junior sister Su Jing is even more powerful than I thought." Su Jing didn't say anything. Hidden Dragon ranked martial artists are here as well. In Yi Chen's sight, Mo Wuxiwe, Yuan Hing, Hong Qianjun, Wei Dongxi, and the other Hidden Dragon ranked martial artists had all arrived. Disciples of our evil blood martial school, come here. Disciples of the Sky Eagle Castle Martial School, what are you waiting for? Disciples of the Multiple Mountain Martial School, gather. Disciples of the Cyan Bamboo Martial School. As early clasping Yuan realm martial artists, the few of them gathered their disciples once they arrived. After that, all the other Hidden Dragon ranked martial artists followed suit. Not far behind Yi Chen, Ji Shuyan had just arrived. She glanced at Yi Chen's back with a complicated look, then walked towards young Master Emerald, Zhuang Fei. Another half an hour later, the number of people standing around the lake had reached over 400. Except for 1 or 2 people who occasionally arrived, almost all of them had arrived. There were over 600 people when we came in, but now only around 400 are left. Those who died were all the best disciples of their institutions. Luo Han sighed. Zhu Mei said happily, our Sky Cloud Martial School is still okay. All 4 of us are still here. You see, some of our institutions have all lost their disciples. None of them survived, and some of our institutions only have 1 disciple left. A general success is built on thousands of bones. Yi Chen murmured in his head. Another half an hour later, no one else arrived. At this moment, the eagle killer, Yuan Heng, suddenly growled out, Where is my brother, Yuan Hengkong? Why isn't he here yet? Have any of you seen him? Have you seen my brother Yuan Hengkong? Tell me. Randomly grabbing a disciple who didn't even dare to look at him, Yuan Hengying's voice was filled with a strong killing intent. I don't know. That disciple's teeth were chattering. If you don't know, why should I keep you alive? Puff! That disciple's head was twisted off. He died an innocent death. Yi Chen, don't give yourself away. Seeing this horrible scene, Luo Hanshan's heart suddenly tightened. He sent a message to Yi Chen with his Jin Qi. Yi Chen responded blandly, Brother Luo, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Beside him, Zhu Mei said in a low voice, This guy has gone too far. How can he kill people for no reason? Does he think he can do whatever he wants just because he is powerful? Luo Han gave a bitter smile. Zhu Mei was slightly more powerful than him, but she was a bit too soft. Yuan Heng didn't go to the places where there were powerful hidden dragon-ranked martial artists. Instead, he went to the places where there were no powerful hidden dragon-ranked martial artists. At this moment, he had killed another disciple and was walking towards the Sky Cloud Martial School. Have you seen my brother Yuan Hengkong? With blood-red eyes, Yuan Heng glanced at the 4 of them and said in a cold voice, Yi Chen didn't move at all. Sorry, I have never seen him. Kid, how dare you? You can even stay so calm in front of me. It seems that you are the most suspicious one. Tell me the truth. Yuan Heng approached Yi Chen step by step. What a joke. If you haven't seen him, then you haven't. What are you going to do? A killing intent flashed across Yi Chen's eyes. He was ready for a bloody fight. Chapter 149. Junior brother Yi, don't be impulsive. However, if this Yuan Heng is too aggressive, let's attack together. While talking to Yi Chen with his Zhen Qi, Luo Han had also informed Zhu Mei and Su Jing, telling them to prepare for a bloody fight. At the same time, he had made up his mind that he would make Yuan Heng bleed, even if he had to give up his own life. Zhu Mei and Su Jing silently nodded. Their Zhen Qi was ready to burst out. As soon as Yuan Heng made his move, they would launch a thunderous attack. The scene was deathly silent, and a tragic atmosphere spread out. Mo Wuxiue and the other hidden dragon rank warriors watched this scene with interest. Compared to the other martial institutions, although the Sky Cloud Martial School was relatively weak, they were quite united. It seemed like they were ready to risk their lives to fight against Yuan Heng. Unfortunately, sometimes risking one's life did not mean it would be useful. In front of absolute power, everything else was useless. Lu Wuxiang and Ji Shuyan looked at Zhuang Fei with pity. Zhuang Fei said blandly, The Heavenly Dream Ancient Region is a man-eating place. Just protect yourself. Don't worry about anything else. Eldest senior brother is right. Other people's business has nothing to do with us. They deserve to die, challenging Yuan Hing, courting death. The other core disciples of the Emerald Martial Palace were gloating. In the direction of the Purple Sun Martial School, Ouyang Ming said excitedly, "Cousin, it seems like we don't need to do anything to those people from the Sky Cloud Martial School. Yuan Hing will be able to kill them." Ouyang Lai said, "They are destined to die, but that's good. We don't have to think about how to kill them, and we can focus on entering the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. Hee. When the Heavenly Dream Ancient Region closes and everyone gets out, those old guys from the Sky Cloud Martial School will definitely have a very interesting look on their faces." The others also began to discuss spiritedly. "These four are dead for sure. Who doesn't know that the Eagle Killer has always been ruthless? Originally, only one needed to die. The other three were too impulsive. Let's hope that Killer Eagle doesn't come after us after killing them. Why don't we leave this place first and come back after the 7-colored pillar of light dissipates? Junior brother, do we not want to die even if you want to? It would be strange if the Killer Eagle didn't kill us after seeing us run." The discussions of the crowd didn't distract Yi Qin. His eyes were sharp, and the sharp aura on his body had been accumulated to the peak, fusing with his sword intent. "You have guts. You really do have guts. But being gutsy is not a good thing. Today you will all die. I, Yuan Hing, will never leave anyone alive." Chirp. Yuan Hing's body shook. The dark cyan Zhen qi around his body turned into a soaring eagle. The eagle let out a long cry. Its murderous aura spread out in all directions. The air rippled like water. It was extremely sticky. "Look, Yuan Hing is going to make his move." That kid seems to be about to use a killer move as well. Everyone was surprised. In their line of sight, Yi Chen's right hand was placed on the hilt of his sword. The sword was not out of its sheath, but its sharpness was already apparent. The surrounding grass and trees were cut in half, as if they had been injured by the invisible sword qi. Grinning viciously, Yuan Hing was about to launch his attack. The Zhen Qi eagle around his body was ready to pounce, but right at that moment, the colorful light column changed. The tens of miles thick, colorful light column quickly became thinner, and within 2 blinks of an eye, it had already shrunk to 100 meters thick, standing in the middle of the lake. "The divine light of extinction has disappeared. Let's go." Some of the disciples couldn't wait any longer. They rushed out like an arrow, leapt high into the air, and dived into the lake like shuttles. The others saw that there was no danger this time, so they all jumped into the water without hesitation. Splash, 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 splash! The sound of jumping into the water could be heard continuously. Within a blink of an eye, only tens of disciples were left standing by the lake. "Let's go down." On the other side, Zhuang Fei had also jumped into the water with his Emerald Martial Palace's disciples. Yuan Hing's facial expression changed a few times. At the moment, he had 2 choices. One was to let go of Yi Qin and his friends and dive into the water right away, and the other was to kill them and then dive into the water. The latter might take some time, because the sharp aura released from Yi Chen's body was extremely sharp. It was not realistic to kill him and his friends within 1 or 2 moves. "You're lucky. I hope that you won't run into me in the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace." HM. After thinking for a while, Yuan Hing decided to choose the first option. The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace was extremely mysterious. He was afraid that he might miss the right time and cause a lot of changes. Turning around, Yuan Hing dived straight into the lake without dispelling his Zhen Qi eagle. Standing on the lake, the few disciples slightly let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this colorful light column disappeared in time. Lu Hanshan's clothes were soaked in cold sweat. He raised his head and looked at the empty lake. Zhu Mei nodded and said, "Although Yuan Hing's character is not good, but undoubtedly he is extremely powerful, especially that fierce aura of killing tens of thousands of people. It makes people feel like they have arrived in hell, and there are mountains of corpses and oceans of blood everywhere. Let's go. Among the four of them, the calmest one was without a doubt Yi Qin. Just now, he had already prepared himself for a bloody battle. Of course, in terms of power, he was still much weaker than Yuan Hingying. He was only as powerful as Lin Yu, who was ranked 70th in the last hidden dragon ranking. If he used the heart refining, he might be able to barely win against Lin Yu. However, Yuan Hingying was not Lin Yu. He was at least 30% more powerful than Lin Yu, and was ranked 59th in the last hidden dragon ranking. With only his late condensing reality realm cultivation and sword intent, it would be very difficult for Yi Qin to defeat Yuan Hingying. Therefore, if this battle started, there would only be two outcomes. One, Yi Qin would die, and Yuan Hingying would be severely wounded. The other, they would all die together, and there would be no winner. No matter which one it was, Yi Qin would not like either one. Splash! 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 Water splashed everywhere. The four of them dove into the bottom of the lake, leaving only the empty lakeside. Such a huge pressure. Once they dove into the water, the four of them felt that their protective Zhen Qi had tightened and was about to collapse. Yi Qin activated his soul power and spread it out. He found that the water in the lake was not transparent. It was mixed with a seven-colored color, as if it was made of a seven-colored crystal, and its density was higher than that of water. This is not ordinary water. Everyone be careful. Yi Qin reminded them. As they dove deeper and deeper, the pressure of the lake water increased as well. When they reached 100 meters deep, the protective layer of Zhen Qi, which was 3 feet away from their skin, had shrunk by a large margin and was now only 2 feet away from their skin. Apart from this, the great pressure had also brought a great resistance, and their diving speed had been slowed down to an extremely low level. Suddenly, blood surged up from the bottom of the lake. Is there a fight going on down there? The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace is not far away from here. Why would they waste their time on a fight? Yi Qin frowned. He felt that something was wrong. Crack! Silently, Yi Qin's protective layer of Zhen Qi was bitten through by something, and the water gushed in, sending him flying tens of meters away. Brother Yi! Lu Hanshan clearly saw that it was a weird-looking fish that had bitten through Yi Qin's protective layer of Zhen Qi. The fish's body was as thin as a shuttle, about 5 feet long, and its mouth was filled with sawtooth-like teeth, shining with a cold light. The weird fish was way too fast. Yi Qin's protective layer of Zhen Qi had already been bitten through by Lu Hanshan. It was impossible for Lu Hanshan to defend himself. Boom! Su Jing was the first one to launch the attack. A pair of fiery light rings condensed behind her head, which were still shining brightly even in the water, and boosted her power. She threw a punch on the weird fish's abdomen. Large amounts of blood gushed out of the weird fish's mouth. It swam for tens of meters and stopped moving. Tens of meters away, Yi Qin was trying his best to control his boiling blood. He was secretly shocked. This fish's teeth are way too sharp. His protective layer of Zhen Qi didn't even work. It was broken by a single bite. Fortunately, he had cultivated his body to the golden jade body, so not even a piece of his flesh was torn off. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so easily injured. Swiftly swimming over, Yi Qin said, "I'm fine." Lu Hanshan's face darkened and said, "If I'm not wrong, these weird fishes are ancient piranhas. Their sharp teeth can bite through most metals. They are 10 times more powerful than the piranhas of today." Zhu Mei said, "Brother Yi, the martial art you have been practicing is way too low level. I'm afraid that you won't be able to defend yourself against the attacks of these ancient piranhas. Why don't you come with us?" Indeed, we have all been practicing low-rank Earth realm martial arts. It's more than enough to defend against 2 to 3 ancient piranhas. Lu Hanshan didn't realize until now that Yi Qin had been practicing a top-rank mortal realm martial art, the pure Jun Zhen Qi. In terms of attacking power, it might not be any weaker than low-rank Earth realm martial arts, but in terms of defensive power, it was much weaker. Yi Qin's Zhen Qi was also not as rich as theirs. He was the weakest one among all of them. Yi Chen shook his head and said, "Just now I was distracted by the blood and water down there. I didn't notice the ancient piranha's sneak attack. I'll be more careful from now on." After having suffered a great loss this time, Yi Chen didn't dare to be careless anymore. He spread his soul power to cover a radius of tens of meters. Once there was any movement, he would be able to sense it. The four of them kept diving down. As the water pressure increased, more and more ancient piranhas appeared. At the beginning, there were only one or two of them, but now there were small groups of piranhas. Cut! As if he had eyes on his back, Yi Chen turned around and threw out a sword attack. Puff! The water was cut open, and the thick sword chi flashed across the air. The next moment, a small group of ancient piranhas were cut in half, and the blood spread everywhere, making it impossible to see anything. Further down there, a conspiracy was taking place. "You guys want to die. How dare you stop me?" Hong Qianjun, who was ranked 69th in the last hidden dragon rank, showed a strong killing intent in his eyes. His voice spread out along with his Zhen Qi. Ouyang swallowed his saliva and said, "Hong Qianjun, one of the inner elders of our Purple Sun Martial School, is a member of your Hong family's branch. This time, we want to talk business with you." Hong Qianjun's killing intent didn't decrease. He said coldly, "What business?" "Kill a man for us." "Are you kidding me? Who do you think you are? You want me to kill someone for you? Believe it or not, I will kill you right now." Hong Qianjun's words were 30% true and 70% false. He just wanted to scare them and make them bleed more. As for killing someone, it was a simple thing, and he didn't mind spending a little bit of time on it. However, it depended on whether he was satisfied with the reward. The eldest disciple of the Purple Sun Martial School, Ouyang Lai, said blandly, "After this is done, I'll give you 50,000 low-rank spirit stones." You think I'm a beggar? 100,000 for killing someone, and 20,000 for wasting my time. Not a single one less, or I will kill you right now. All right, as you wish. Ouyang Ming's heart was bleeding. 120,000 low-grade spirit stones were equivalent to 48 million taels of gold. If he had a choice, he would rather give 80 million taels of gold to the elder because only a small number of low-grade spirit stones could be auctioned in the auction. This time, the inner sect elder promised him 100,000 low-grade spirit stones, and the remaining 20,000 would have to be paid by him and his cousin. He kill who? Also, I'm warning you, don't go back on your word. We, the multiple mountain martial school, will never suffer losses. Ouyang Ming said coldly, "Yi Chen." Chapter 150. The bottom of the lake was immeasurably deep. The first batch of disciples had already dived hundreds of meters, and their protective Jinqi had been compressed to a foot away from their skin. But that was not all. They were surrounded by horrifying ancient piranhas. These piranhas had formed groups and were specifically attacking the disciples who were alone. Those with strong protective Zhenqi could hold on for a while, but those with weak Zhenqi would be completely devoured after 2 or 3 attacks. Not even bones would be left. It was a bloody scene. "Head disciple sister, second disciple brother, luckily we have your Sky Holy Water spell to protect us." Not all of the disciples from the Rudra Martial School were facing the attacks of the ancient piranhas. The 5 disciples from the Rudra Martial School were wrapped in a cone-shaped water shield. The water shield was as thick as a fist, and the water surface was rotating at a speed invisible to the naked eye, like a drill. Those 5-feet-long piranhas were thrown away once they touched the water shield, and couldn't even get close to them. Although the 10-feet-long giant piranhas were not thrown away, the water shield was unimaginably hard, and they couldn't bite through it. After a while, their gums started to bleed because of the rotating water. Nan Gongyan put both of her hands on the inner wall of the water shield and said, "I can't defend against the ancient piranhas alone. Only with Sister Qin and I we have such an effect." Yuan Shuamei smiled and said, "Training the Sky Holy Water spell. 1 drop of Jinqi is more than 100 pounds. This water shield is mixed with normal water, and it already has such a strong defense. If it was all made with Zhen Qi, it would be more than 10 times stronger. It's not that easy. The Zhen Qi from the Sky Holy Water spell is very little, and we need to mix it with Water Yuan Qi during normal battles, not to mention such a huge defensive shield. On the other side, a girl in cyan clothes also put both of her hands on the inner wall of the water shield. She shook her head and smiled bitterly. While they were talking, the water shield was like a spiral drill, and it dived another 200 to 300 meters. Great monument suppression. 10 miles fragrance. All demons fall. Under the water, there was a turbulent undercurrent. A 10 meters tall monument made of Zhen Qi fell down and landed in the middle of the ancient piranhas. The shock wave spread out and killed a large group of them. After that, faintly discernible sword light sprinkled out like 100 flowers blooming, and also like a fragrance wafting for 10 miles. It enveloped all the ancient piranhas in front of it and started to kill them endlessly. In the end, it formed a huge flower of blood mist. The sword light dimmed and a resplendent golden light shone, spreading out in a fan shape. It contained countless fist shadows, and every punch had the power of 1,000 caddies. Wherever it went, the water would explode and whirlpools would appear. The man-eating fish were dizzy and unable to move and were beaten to death. This won't do. There are too many piranhas. I can only kill about 10 of them with a full power attack. I can't kill them all. Luo Hanshan said to the other 3 through his Zhen Qi. Su Jing rarely spoke. Don't get entangled. Dive with all your might. Senior sister Su is right. Continuing to fight is just a waste of time. Everyone, try your best to go down as fast as possible. I'll stay behind. Brandishing his sword and killing one piranha after another, Yi Chen felt that his innate qi was being consumed rapidly. He had already used up 1/3 of it. How can we do that? Zhu Mei disagreed. Luo Hanshan understood what Yi Chen meant. He turned to Zhu Mei and said, Don't underestimate Brother Yi. He is the most powerful one among us. He can easily kill Ouyang Ming. Really? Zhu Mei didn't believe it. She hesitated for a second, then decided to follow the plan. Together with Luo Hanshan and Su Jing, Zhu Mei dived down with all their strength. However, she had made up her mind that once Yi Chen was in danger, she would come back immediately. Swallowing a pill that could help him recover his Zhen Qi, Yi Chen activated his sword intent and slashed out with his sword. Whirlwind and clouds! In the blink of an eye, the violent sword Qi shot out, rising straight up in a spiral shape. In the next moment, a huge water spout was formed in the water. The water spout was filled with incomparably sharp sword Qi, constantly killing the piranhas nearby or far away. Puchi, 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 Puchi. After this sword move, Yi Chen's Zhen Qi dropped by a small half again. He couldn't help but smile bitterly and thought to himself, It seems that I have to find a low-rank Earth realm martial art to cultivate when I get back. Otherwise, with my current Zhen Qi, I won't be able to use the shocking cloud sword art as much as I want. Down below, Zhu Mei turned around and saw what had happened. She said in shock, How come Brother Yi is so powerful? I felt that every single beam of sword Qi in that water spout could injure me badly. You might not believe it, but Brother Yi has already mastered the sword intent, and he can easily kill other martial artists at the same level as him. I saw him kill 3 disciples who were no weaker than me with only 1 sword move, and they couldn't even fight back at all. Luo Hanshan said with a big smile. Zhu Mei's eyes popped out. He has mastered the sword intent. No wonder he is so powerful. Before Shui Warren, the leader of the Northern Snow Martial Academy, had mastered the blade intent, he was only as powerful as an inner elder, and his talent was just average as well. However, once he mastered the blade intent, his power skyrocketed, and he could even compete with Shuang Qingxian, the leader of the Emerald Martial Palace. Until now, no one has ever seen him use all of his power. Soon, Yi Chen caught up with them. However, right at this moment, the water started vibrating intensely. A tens of meters long, gigantic Zhenqi palm, which was emitting a khaki yellow light, shrouded the four of them. Yi Chen's eyes shone with an intense killing intent. He launched a boundless cloud attack. Rumble. Once the gigantic sword Qi touched the gigantic Zhenqi palm, it was as if tens of bombs had been detonated under the water. Luo Han's Han, Zhu Mei, and Zhu Mei were sent flying by the shockwave. Their qi and blood started boiling, and they almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Han Qianjun. Luo Hanshan's pupils contracted. He noticed a tall and sturdy silhouette in the water. That silhouette's muscles were as strong as those of a human ape, just like Lin Yu's. Haha, so you are the disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School. Han Qianjun had launched this palm attack from far away. He didn't see who had blocked it, so he thought that it was the combined power of the four of them. Thinking like this, he didn't care about it at all. There were many obstacles in the water. Therefore, when he launched that palm attack, he only had 70 to 80% of his power left. Zhu Mei frowned and asked, "Why did you attack us?" Han Qianjun curled his lips and said, "You're not very popular. Someone even offered a large amount of low-grade spirit stones to buy your lives." "Buy our lives?" Yuan Hinging? Impossible, he's a hidden dragon, ranked martial artist. How could he let others take advantage of him? But besides him, who else would want to offend our Sky Cloud Martial School? Could it be the Purple Sun Martial School? Yeah, the Purple Sun Martial School and our Sky Cloud Martial School are mortal enemies. Now that they've seen the rise of our junior brother Yi, they won't give up. Han Qianjun, let's get straight to the point. It's the Purple Sun Martial School's people who want our lives. Han Qianjun shook his head and said, "I don't care about that. What I want to do is to kill you. But now I can give you a chance. Among the four of you, only one can survive. In other words, the other three can either kill themselves or be killed by me, and the last one should run." Yi Qin said blandly, "You think you've got us? Who the hell do you think you are? Among the four of us, you'll definitely die." Han Qianjuan's body was surrounded by a layer of yellow light, which made it impossible for the piranhas to bite through it. Yi Qin said slowly, "Today you'll also die." The blue veins on Han Qianjuan's forehead suddenly bulged. He said in a hideous voice, "You're just like a dog. How dare you yell in front of me? Just wait until I break all of your bones and make you beg for death. I'll see if you can still talk back then." Hundreds of meters away, Ouyang Lai and Ouyang Ming were standing side by side, talking while killing the piranhas nearby. "Cousin, do you think this Han Qianjun can kill them? Why do I have a bad feeling about this?" Lightning flashed, and 4 piranhas were burnt black by the lightning. Rushing thunder hand, Ouyang Lai snorted and said, "Han Qianjun is ranked 69th in the hidden dragon ranking. He was only at the peak of the late condensing reality realm, but he was already able to easily kill disciples at the same level as him. Now that he has stepped into the clasping Yuan realm, how could he not be able to kill these 4? "You're right." Ouyang Ming nodded. Earlier, on the lakeside, when Yuan Hinging was about to kill Yi Qin and the other 3, the 7-colored light column suddenly disappeared, which ruined their plan. The more they thought about it, the more worried they became. After entering the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace, there was a 10% chance for them to step into the clasping Yuan realm. If they didn't step into the clasping Yuan realm, it would be fine, but once they stepped into the clasping Yuan realm, it would be very difficult for them to kill them. After all, they wouldn't have the chance forever. In for a penny, in for a pound, in for a pound. Both of them spent a large amount of low-grade spirit stones to invite Han Qianjun to help them kill Yi Qin and the other 3, and kill them under the water. When they're dying, we can go up and finish them off. Ouyang Lai's nickname was Rushing Thunder Hand, but his temperament was even gloomier than Ouyang Ming's. He was extremely cruel. That would be great. Once Han Qianjun said those words, he sensed the sword Qi coming right at his face, and the yellow-colored light column seemed to collapse. At the same time, Yi Chen's voice came. You could have gone to the heavenly dream battle palace safely, and nothing would have happened. You might have even improved your cultivation, but you're digging your own grave. Don't blame me. I'd like to see who will end up like a dead dog. When he was confronting Yuan Hinging, Yi Chen didn't have the chance to launch the first attack because he didn't have the confidence to kill Yuan Hinging. Unfortunately, Hong Qianjun wasn't Yuan Hinging. He was only as powerful as Lin Yu. Although it would be a bit difficult to kill him, it wasn't impossible. Once he launched the attack, Yi Chen activated his sword intent with all of his power and launched the shocking cloud sword art. The thick sword qi contained an inexhaustible explosive power. Wherever it reached, the water would be cut open and the water behind it would explode, pushing the sword qi forward at an even faster speed. Sword intent. Hong Qianjuan's face turned pale with fright. The sword intent had always been difficult to learn, and Yi Chen was only a late condensing reality realm martial artist. How could he have learned the sword intent? Hong Qianjun was slightly stunned. Then his face turned fierce. He knew that he couldn't let this man live, otherwise he would become a great threat in the future, and he had to kill him as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Hong Qianjun let out a great shout, and the yellow-colored light column around his body suddenly expanded, locking the space around him. Mountain-shattering stamp. Hong Qianjun locked his fingers together and launched a palm attack. Buzz! The speed of the sword qi was very fast. However, as soon as it entered the earthen yellow halo, its speed plummeted, as if there was an endless obstacle. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, a round of earthen yellow palm prints broke through the water flow and heavily struck the sword qi. Crack! The sword qi was shattered, and the remaining sword qi was twisted by the yellow-colored light column, then disappeared. However, Hong Qianjun had underestimated the power of the sword qi, and one of his sleeves was cut off. Chapter 151. Damn it, I want you to die. Facing a late condensing reality realm warrior, Hong Qianjun was enraged. His face turned extremely pale. He threw out another mountain-shattering stamp. Mountain-shattering stamp was a low-rank earth realm martial skill that only belonged to the multiple mountain martial school. Once the mountain-shattering stamp was launched, all of the martial artist's power would be concentrated on a single point, and it was even more powerful than ordinary low-rank earth realm martial skills. When Hong Qianjun was at the peak level late condensing reality realm, he had shattered the protective Zhen Qi of an early clasping Yuan realm martial artist with this skill. At this moment, he launched the mountain-shattering stamp with all of his power. The surrounding water currents were violently stirred up, and an astonishing undercurrent kept attacking Yi Chen's body, as if it wanted to send him flying and push him back. Moreover, under the pressure of the undercurrent, the protective aura around him that was 3 feet away from his body was making creaking sounds, as if it couldn't bear the heavy pressure. Yi Chen's eyes were sharp, and his body, which was as immovable as a mountain, shook slightly. The pervasive sword intent spread out along with his strength, cutting off the source of the undercurrent. Suddenly, the undercurrent that had lost its source was like a poisonous snake that had been hit in its weak spot. It seemed to be strong in appearance, but weak in reality. Mountain condensing sword qi. This series of changes happened in a split second. Yi Chen took a step forward, and the water under his feet became as solid as iron. Yi Chen didn't see how he moved, but the hidden cloud sword in his hand had already been swung out, and his whole body was frozen in the same position. The thick sword qi was like a mountain, cutting through the water and part of the earthy yellow halo, colliding with the earthy yellow palm print. Qi, 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 qi. This time the sword qi did not shatter. Instead, it vibrated and rubbed against each other at a high speed. Wave after wave of boundless power slashed onto the palm print. What sword technique is this? Hong Qianjuan's heart sank, and his desire to kill Yi Chen grew even stronger. He couldn't allow himself to be defeated by a late, condensing reality, realm warrior, even if the latter had comprehended the sword intent. After all, he was a hidden dragon-ranked martial artist. If this news spread out, it would be a great blow to his reputation. Pucci! In the end, the palm print only had one layer of power. Under the slash of the sword chi, it quickly disintegrated and was cut in half. The next moment, the sword chi, which did not seem to be weakening, shot toward the deeper layer of the earthy yellow halo. It moved like lightning, ignoring the obstruction of the water flow. And theft as a marquee, Hong Qianjun pushed his Zhen Qi to its limit. The yellow halo around his body became even more dazzling. It was almost tangible. After that, the yellow halo quickly combined together and transformed into a small, illusory city, which protected Hong Qianjun's body and stabilized the surrounding water flow, blocking the sharp sword chi. What kind of defensive technique is this? It's even more terrifying than my combination skill, purple chi from the east, great monument suppression. Lu Hanshan was a master of the art of defense. Even Ouyang Ming, who had mastered the dragon beheading kick, had not been able to break his defense with only one move, and he would be able to hold his own against two martial artists who were at the same level as him. However, when he saw Hong Qianjun's small, illusory city, he realized that his defense was far weaker than Hong Qianjun's, even if he had stepped into the clasping Yuan realm. Suddenly, he started worrying about Yi Qin. Ouyang Ming and Ouyang Lai were dumbfounded at the same time. How is this possible? You barely defeated Shurpatian. How come you have the strength to fight against Hong Qianjun now? Impossible. Ouyang Ming couldn't believe his own eyes and said bitterly. Ouyang Lai said in a deep voice, "Fortunately, we didn't find a chance to attack him ourselves. Otherwise, we would have been killed by him. But since the gods have allowed us to escape, it means that we still have a chance to kill him. Now let's just wait and see. He won't be able to hold on for long. The multiple mountain martial school's land-splitting art is a mid-rank earth realm martial art. Even if Hong Qianjun hasn't mastered it completely, he will still be invincible. Indeed, Yi Qin is dead for sure. He won't be able to break Hong Qianjun's defense." Clang, 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 clang. The sword chi struck on the small, illusory city, causing dazzling fire sparkles to burst out. The fire sparkles didn't die out even after being touched by water. Instead, the scorching heat from the fire sparkles burned large groups of piranhas to death. However, no matter how fast the sword chi struck, the small, illusory city, which was formed by Zhen Qi, remained as stable as a mountain. Even a small crack couldn't shake the city, not to mention killing Hong Qianjun. Haha, my earth-splitting art is a mid-rank earth realm martial art. How could you possibly break it? Dream on. Hong Qianjun laughed arrogantly. The Multiple Mountain Martial School was a rank 7 institution in the White Mystery Nation, and they didn't have too many low-rank earth realm martial arts. Half a year ago, when he stepped into the clasping Yuan realm, the headmaster of the Multiple Mountain Martial School directly gave him the earth-splitting art. The earth-splitting art was divided into 11 levels, and after spending half a year studying it and being taught by an inner elder, Hong Qianjun had already reached the 8th level of the earth-splitting art, which was even more powerful than the highest level of low-rank earth realm martial arts. This was definitely his strongest defense. Yi Chen remained expressionless, while he let out a resonant growl. Explode! Boom! The thick sword chi exploded right next to the small, illusory city. Tiny pieces of sword chi darted across the air and clanged against the city wall, forcing Hong Qianjun to take a step back. Hong Qianjun didn't get angry. Instead, he laughed out loud, locked his fingers together, and launched 2 mountain-shattering stamp. The power of the mountain-shattering stamp seemed to contain the power of a small mountain. Wherever it reached, the water would explode and surge towards Yi Chen like a raging tide. Swirling clouds. Facing the incoming palm attacks, Yi Chen took a deep breath and let out a growl, then launched the shocking cloud sword art, which had the widest range of attack. All of a sudden, Countless streams of sword chi swirled up, stirred up the water, and darted out like a gigantic serpent. Puff, 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 boom. The sounds of the mountain-shattering stamp and the sounds of the sword chi surged up one after another, shaking people's hearts. Any piranha that approached were either crushed or punctured. Lu Han's Han and the other two had already retreated to a distance of 800 meters and could only faintly see two human silhouettes fighting. Brother Yi is indeed powerful. He's fighting evenly with Hong Qianjun, who is ranked in the Hidden Dragon ranking, but he's still at the late condensing reality realm, not even at the peak of the late condensing reality realm. Lu Han's Han was shocked, but he also seemed a bit numb, but he was still extremely happy. Zhu Mei frowned and said, Lu Han's Han, Brother Yi, is in danger. Why? Lu Han's Han was surprised. Before Zhu Mei could answer, Su Jing said blandly, Brother Yi has been practicing a top-rank mortal realm art. His Zhen Qi is not enough, plus the limitation of his cultivation. He is at least 3 times weaker than Hong Qianjun. Hong Qianjun is trying to consume Brother Ye's Zhen Qi, and when he is weakened, he will kill him with one strike. Now that you mention it, it's true I was too careless. Lu Han's Han was too excited just now, so he didn't notice some subtle things. Now that he was reminded by Zhu Mei and Zhu Mei, he immediately became vigilant. But Brother Yi should still have some tricks up his sleeves. He doesn't look like someone who lacks consideration. After saying that, Su Jing added, 800 meters away from the east side of the battlefield. Ouyang Lai sneered. In a few more minutes, Yi Qin will die for sure. Ouyang Ming knew what Ouyang Lai meant. He grinned viciously and said, the older, the wiser. Hong Qianjun has been through hundreds of battles. He has encountered all kinds of opponents. How could Yi Qin, who has just risen to power, compare with him? When his Zhen Qi is weakened, he will definitely be crushed to death. In fact, Hong Qianjun is seriously injured, while Yi Qin is dying. This is the best result. By that time, Lu Han's Han and the other two will definitely rush up and attack Hong Qianjun together. Even if Hong Qianjun is seriously injured, he will still be able to kill them, which will aggravate his injuries. Ouyang Ming's eyes brightened. You mean we can take advantage of the situation and conveniently kill Hong Qianjun as well? Ouyang Lai's face darkened. Hong Qianjun smirked and said, there is always a huge gap between the condensing reality realm and the clasping yuan realm. No matter how powerful you are, you can't escape from this fact. How much Zhen Qi do you have left? I guess not more than 20%. It's enough to kill you. Yi Qin's facial expression didn't change at all, but his eyes were getting sharper and sharper, as if he could see through everything and see through everything. Seeing Yi Qin's cold expression, Hong Qianjun was extremely annoyed. He swore to himself that he would crush Yi Qin's confidence, step on his face and give him a good beating. He would like to see if Yi Qin could still be so arrogant and not beg for mercy. Die. Mountain-shattering stamp. Hong Qianjun quickly locked his hands together and launched a wave of yellow-colored palm prints. These palm prints were extremely solid. They looked like small mountains that were sealed within them. What surprised everyone was that Yi Qin didn't take the attack head-on. Instead, he twisted his body and swam downwards like a fish. His movement was incredibly fast. It was hard to imagine that someone could move so fast in the water. The pure Jun Jin, Qi condensed into a Qi sword and wrapped Yi Qin up. Driven by the sword intent, the sword moved at an amazing speed. All the water currents seemed to have lost their obstacles and were easily cut open. At this moment, Yi Qin's speed was even faster than the ancient piranha fish. Where do you think you're going? Hong Qianjun was stunned for a second when he saw that his attack had failed. He immediately chased after Yi Qin. The pressure in the water was too great, and Hong Qianjun wasn't good at moving, so he was left further and further behind. While being shocked by Yi Qin's speed, Hong Qianjun pushed his Zhen Qi to its limit. His Zhen Qi was boiling behind him like water, creating a strong pushing force. Finally, Hong Qianjun locked onto Yi Chen from afar and launched another attack. Waves of palm prints collided with Yi Chen's body, causing the water currents to become chaotic. The chase lasted for a short while. Yi Chen suddenly stopped, turned around, and launched a sword attack towards Hong Qianjun. Mountain-shattering sword chi. Hong Qianjun laughed out. He thought that Yi Chen had lost his mind, so he hurriedly launched the earth-splitting and border-conquering art to defend himself. However, when he launched the art, his Zhen Qi slightly stagnated, but he didn't notice it. The only thought in his mind was to kill Yi Chen and trample him under his feet. Scorching hot sparks splashed out in all directions, boiling the surrounding water currents. In the center of the sparks, the sword Qi continuously hacked on the illusory city outside Hong Qianjun's body. The frequency of the sword Qi was so high that even the surrounding water currents started vibrating, synchronizing with the frequency of the sword Qi. Crack! Suddenly, a cracking sound of something hard breaking came out. The sword Qi's power became stronger than before. Compared to before, it didn't weaken at all. On the contrary, it had become unprecedentedly stronger. As for the Zhen Qi's exhaustion, it was as if everything that had happened before was just an illusion. A large crack appeared on the illusory city, and it seemed like it was about to be broken. Hong Qianjun was frightened. Impossible! How can you still have so much Zhen Qi? Chapter 152. You don't need to worry about my Zhen Qi. As for your Zhen Qi, I guess you only have 30 to 40% left. Although your defensive skill is quite powerful, it obviously consumes a lot of Zhen Qi. Just now, you forced yourself to use your Zhen Qi to chase after me. Plus, you continuously cast the mountain-shattering stamp. Your Zhen Qi has been consumed even more. Yi Chen's voice wasn't loud, but it was as sharp as a sword, easily piercing through Hong Qianjun's heart. Hong Qianjun became angry out of shame. What about you? You should have run out of Zhen Qi long ago. The sword continued cutting the small city, creating bigger and bigger cracks. Yi Chen said blandly, Unfortunately, I have a pill that can instantly replenish my Zhen Qi. I have already swallowed it when I was chasing after you. Half of what he said was true. The pill that could instantly replenish one's Zhen Qi was real, but only one pill was fake. In fact, he had a whole gourd full of pills. He didn't know the name of this pill, but he knew that it was very useful. Apart from improving one's Zhen Qi, it could also instantly replenish one's Zhen Qi, which was many times better than the other pills that could replenish one's Zhen Qi. The illusory city, formed by his Zhen Qi, was on the verge of collapsing. Hong Qianjun said word by word, Very good. You are the first one under the clasping yuan realm who could force me to this extent. But do you really think that you can defeat me? Divide the land, seal the border, condense. Hong Qianjun instantly released the remaining Zhen Qi from his body. The illusory city suddenly shrunk a little bit, and the cracks on it gradually closed up. It became more and more solid and thick. The defensive power of the city was so strong that even Yi Chen's sword Qi couldn't break it. Haha! After reaching the clasping yuan realm, my Zhen Qi recovery speed has been greatly increased. Now, I don't need to attack, I just need to defend. I can recover my Zhen Qi bit by bit. By then, you will have consumed half of your Zhen Qi, and that will be the time of your death. While saying these words, Hong Qianjun was so angry that he almost lost his mind. He had never thought that a late condensing reality realm warrior would be able to push him to this extent. If he didn't kill Yi Chen, he would never be able to eat or sleep in peace. Yi Chen's expression was cold. I want to see how long you can defend. Sword Qi Mountain. Although this sword technique could last for a long time, it would eventually run out of energy. If he continued to use his Zhen Qi, the effect would be greatly reduced. Yi Chen decided to cut off his Zhen Qi and slashed out again. The violent sword Qi fiercely cut through the illusory city, creating thousands of sparks. Of the two of them, one focused on defense, while the other focused on offense. The audience was dumbfounded. Before the previous one subsides, another one rises. I can't even see this battle clearly anymore. Lu Hanshan let out a long breath and said with a bitter smile, Zhu Mei said, being able to force Hong Qianjun to use all of his strength to defend himself. Junior brother, his fighting strength is really amazing. But Hong Qianjun shouldn't be underestimated either. That defensive skill is unbelievably powerful. It's definitely a mid-rank Earth Realm skill. Indeed, if Hong Qianjun didn't have this defensive skill, he would have been defeated by Brother Yi long ago. Su Jing didn't say anything. She was waiting for Yi Chen to launch a thunderous attack, the kind that would make his opponent have no chance to fight back. In the distance, Ouyang Ming gasped in shock. Yi Chen's power made his hair stand on end. Even Hong Qianjun, who was ranked 69th in the Hidden Dragon ranking and had already stepped into the Clasping Yuan realm, was forced to use all of his strength to defend, not daring to fight back. Ouyang Lai, the Thunder Hand, said with a murderous look on his face, If Yi Chen doesn't die, our Purple Sun Martial School will never have a peaceful day. Wait until both of them are badly injured. Then you and I will use all of our strength to kill Yi Chen. Kill him with one strike. Then we will leave immediately in case we get surrounded by Lu Hanshan and the others. Exactly, this guy is too terrifying. If we don't kill him, we will lose our position in the Windy Nation. We have to kill him. Ouyang Ming said viciously. Hong Qianjun had consumed a lot of his Jin Qi. Once again, a small crack appeared on the solid city wall. The crack seemed to be very small, but it couldn't be ignored because every time the sword Qi struck on the crack would expand at a visible speed. In a short while, the city would definitely fall. Humph! I'll let you be proud for now. When my Zhen Qi recovers to 50%, I'll be able to turn the situation around. Hong Qianjun didn't worry about the small crack at all. He did it on purpose. He wanted to confuse Yi Chen and make him think that he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. All of a sudden, Hong Qianjun's facial expression changed. In his sight, Yi Chen suddenly took back his sword, took a step forward with his left foot, and raised the long sword with his right hand. Yi Chen seemed to have entered a mysterious realm. In the next moment, a stream of extremely sharp qi gathered on the tip of the sword. What does he want to do? Does he still have a special skill? Impossible. A dangerous thought flashed across Hong Qianjun's mind. He was about to activate the conferred territory art to solidify his defense, but it was already too late. Single sword move. Yi Chen held the hidden cloud sword in his hand and swung it out in an extremely simple and gentle way. This move seemed to be slow, but was actually incredibly fast because both Yi Chen's arm and the hidden cloud sword seemed to have disappeared. Yi Chen could only see a beam of white light flashing across the air at a speed that was so fast that it couldn't be seen by the naked eye, as if the water didn't exist. In a twinkling of an eye, the beam of white light struck on the crack on the city wall. Crack! The city wall, which was incomparably sturdy, suddenly cracked open from the middle. Puff! A large amount of blood spurted out from Hong Qianjun's mouth. The protective layer of Zhen Qi around Hong Qianjun's body had already been shattered, and a bone-deep slash appeared on his chest. Inside his body, the sword Qi had been violently cutting his meridians and muscles, and even his Zhen Qi, which had been circulating in a regular pattern, had been cut into pieces. Without the support of his Zhen Qi, the city wall suddenly collapsed, turning into yellow light spots and dissipating in the air. I'm the eldest disciple of the multiple mountain martial school. If you kill me, even if you run to the end of the world, you'll still be dead. Do you want to die? Hong Qianjun glared at Yi Chen with his mouth covered with blood. He didn't believe that Yi Chen would dare to kill him. The Multiple Mountain Martial School was a rank 7 institution in the White Mystery Nation, a mid-level nation. It was an extremely powerful martial artist, and even the leader of the school was an early astral-reaching realm martial artist. If Yi Chen dared to kill him, even if he fled to the Sky Cloud Martial School, it would still be useless. The multiple mountain martial school would definitely pressure the leaders of the sky cloud martial school to hand over Yi Qin. Yi Qin responded blandly, "If you knew that this day would come, why did you do it?" Seeing that Yi Qin didn't attack him, Hong Qianjun was secretly happy. This guy is indeed a coward. But since you have offended me, Hong Qianjun, you should be prepared to be killed in the future. I'll make you beg for death in order to avenge the humiliation you've suffered today. Hong Qianjun said, "A martial artist only has one life. If you let me go now, I'll let bygones be bygones. But if you don't, you know the consequences. Sometimes you can't take the wrong path. Once you make a wrong step, you'll ruin your future." Puff! Before Hong Qianjun could finish his last word, a stream of sword qi chopped his head off. Blood, mixed with water, spurted out tens of meters high. "Since you've already offended me, there's no other way out. Therefore you have to die," Yi Qin said with an indifferent face. "Brother Yi, did you kill Hong Qianjun?" Seeing that Yi Qin had broken Hong Qianjun's defense, Lu Hanshan and the other two hurriedly rushed over. On the way, Hong Qianjun and Yi Qin didn't know what Hong Qianjun had said to Yi Qin, but both of them seemed to be in a stalemate. When they arrived, they saw Yi Qin chopping Hong Qianjun's head off with a single sword strike. Yi Qin said, "If I don't kill him today, he will definitely kill me in the future." "You're right." Lu Hanshan helplessly nodded. The true spirit continent was a cruel world. People who were too weak would never be able to stand out. Therefore, they had to be cruel and merciless. If they didn't do anything, they would be fine. Zhu Mei sighed. A hidden dragon, ranked martial artist, had died just like that. In the end, he was blinded by his own greed. Yi Chen is dead, he's dead. He killed Hong Qianjun. The multiple mountain martial school will never let him go. Let's go, we have to leave now. In a couple of days, when we get out of the heavenly dream ancient region, we'll tell the elders of the multiple mountain martial school about Hong Qianjun's death. They will kill Yi Qin. Ouyang Lai's eyebrows twitched. Yi Chen's cruelty and mercilessness made him tremble in fear. Ouyang Ming's face turned pale as he said, "Hong Qianjun's death is a big deal. He was seeking his own death. You can live if you want to, but you can't live if you want to. Let's go, in case he finds us." Both of them activated their Jin Qi and prepared to leave. "Do you think you can leave?" A voice was heard from behind them. The two turned around to look, and they were shocked to see Yi Qin, who was wrapped in Qi swords, shooting towards them at an alarming speed. "Yi Qin, what do you want? We're disciples of the Purple Sun Martial School. If you kill me, you won't be able to." Ouyang Ming's head was sent flying into the air. His eyes were wide open, as if he couldn't believe that he was dead. He didn't want to die. He still had a long way to go. Ouyang Lai pointed his finger at Yi Qin and said, "You killed Ouyang Ming, you killed him. From now on, my Purple Sun Martial School will never forgive you. My Ouyang family will chop you into pieces. Just wait for your death. Just wait for the day when your Yi family will be destroyed." So much bullshit. Yi Chen wielded his arm and released a stream of sword qi, cutting Ouyang Lai into two. Those two bastards. Luckily, we didn't let them get away. Otherwise, we'd all be dead. He would definitely tell others about what happened to Hong Qianjun. Lu Hanshan was still scared. He couldn't even imagine what would happen if the multiple mountain martial schools people knew that Hong Qianjun was killed by Yi Qin. Zhu Mei hated Ouyang Lai to the bone since long ago. She didn't even know how many Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples had been killed by him. Good. All of this is because of them. Otherwise, Hong Qianjun wouldn't have come to us for no reason. Now that Hong Qianjun is dead, they still want to put the blame on us. Maybe this is a plan made by the Purple Sun Martial School's leaders long ago. They want all four of us to die in the Heavenly Dream ancient region. Oh, right, Brother Yi, how did you find them? They were nearly 1,000 meters away from us. Clang! Putting the hidden cloud sword back into its sheath, Yi Qin said, "I found them long ago, but I didn't do anything." Therefore, I don't think they can open their mouths to talk. Yi Chen's soul power was extremely powerful. He could spread his soul power out for over 1,000 meters. Before the fight against Hong Qianjun started, he had already searched around with his soul power. As expected, the two top-ranked disciples of the Purple Sun Martial School were right in front of him. They probably wanted to watch him die, but unfortunately, in the end, they were the ones who died. Since then, including those disciples who had been killed by the others or the ancient beasts of the Heavenly Dream Ancient region, all the Purple Sun Martial School's disciples had been killed. Su Jing said, "From now on, the Purple Sun Martial School's younger generation will no longer be able to compete with us anymore. No matter what, let's go to the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. It's been a long time. Let's go down." The four of them activated their Jin Qi and moved downwards. Chapter 153. After diving for about 3,000 meters, his protective Jin Qi layer had been compressed to only half an inch away from his skin, which was an extremely dangerous distance. Once his protective Jin Qi layer was shattered, it would be extremely hard for him to get it back up again. After that, he would have to rely on his ability to hold his breath. Fortunately, 3,000 meters was already close to the bottom of the lake. Rumble. Intense vibrations spread out in all directions. Faintly, colorful lights came from the front. Some of these lights were extremely sharp, some were as heavy as a mountain, and some even froze the water into ice. There's a fight going on 1,200 meters ahead. Let's go check it out. Yi Chen took back his soul power and said to the other three. At the bottom of the lake was a magnificent palace. No one knew what kind of material the palace was made from. It looked like gold or jade, but it didn't look like gold or jade. The whole palace was shining with a colorful light, giving people a mysterious feeling. Surrounding the palace was a broad square made of white marble. On the square, nearly 400 disciples had been attacking a tens of meters long, scaleless, golden gray, gigantic serpent. This gigantic serpent was extremely powerful. Even though it was being attacked by nearly 400 people at the same time, it was still extremely fierce and unstoppable. Normal attacks couldn't even break its defense. Only clasping Yuan Realm Hidden Dragon ranked martial artists could cause some damage to it. The ancient black gold serpent is powerful. Individual attacks won't be effective. Everybody line up and attack it together. The one who said this was Lu Zhao, the top-ranked disciple of the White Mysterious Nation's Rank 7 institution, the White Deer Cave. He was also a young martial artist, ranked 60, first in the last hidden dragon ranked. Lu Zhao is right, everybody line up. The other hidden dragon ranked martial artists knew that if they continued like this, they wouldn't know how long it would take. Therefore, they all used their own power to unite the other disciples. Damn it, they always get all the benefits. They only use us when we are in trouble. What can we do? We have to lower our heads when we are in trouble. Anyway, we have to kill this black gold serpent sooner or later. Otherwise, we won't be able to enter the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. Just bear with it. Once you step into the clasping Yuan realm, you can be just as arrogant. Many disciples were not happy about this. Many of their brothers and sisters had been killed by those hidden dragon ranked martial artists. At this moment, when they heard that Lu Zhao wanted to control them, they subconsciously refused to accept it. On the other side, a martial disciple suddenly died. The one who killed him wasn't the dark gold python, but the terrifying Yuan Henging. I gave you face, but you don't want it. What's the point of keeping you alive? Smiling cruelly, Yuan Henging raised his head and said to the others, "Whoever dares to disobey the command, kill without mercy." Too tyrannical, killing people at every turn. 700 or 800 meters away, Zhu Mei looked angry. Luo Hanshan let out a long breath and said calmly, "I think we'd better not go there right now. That Yuan Henging is very aggressive. We might be used as cannon fodder by him once we go there and fight against that ancient dark gold serpent." although this dark gold serpent is only a level 5 demonic beast. Ancient demonic beasts have always been very powerful and have great defensive power. Even mid-clasping Yuan realm martial artists would have to step back when facing it. Brother Yi, you! Luo Han's Han thought that he would be able to convince the others, but unexpectedly, Yi Chen was the first one to walk out. After taking a few steps, Yi Chen turned around and said, "There's no need to hide from him. We can form a battle formation by ourselves. I believe that many of those martial disciples who have grudges against him will join us. Indeed, Brother Yi is not much weaker than Yuan Henging. Why do you still hide?" Su Jing also walked out. Luo Han's Han gave a bitter smile. The protective layer of qi kept the water out. Only the breathable air could get in. Yi Chen took a deep breath. He decided to go over, not because he was confident that he could fight against Yuan Henging, but because he didn't want to lose the heart of a sword artist. To be a sword artist, one had to be fearless. In a situation where the power gap was not huge, hiding was not the way to solve the problem. On the contrary, it would make one lose the spirit. The four of them moved extremely fast. Within a few blinks of an eye, they had already arrived in the middle of the martial disciples. "It's you!" Yuan Henging narrowed his eyes, seeming to be a bit surprised. He licked his lips and said coldly, "You guys come over here, stand in the front row." Seeing this, the other martial disciples were all shocked. Obviously, Yuan Henging was going to use the Four Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples as cannon fodder. Compared to him, they themselves were not any better. After all, the dark gold serpent was not something that could be stopped by just a few cannon fodders. When the time came, the second batch of cannon fodders would definitely come. However, even though they knew that they might become cannon fodders, they still had to endure it. They didn't dare to disobey Yuan Henging, who had killed countless people. At least, they still had a chance to survive against the dark gold serpent. Yi Chen didn't even take a glance at Yuan Henging. His voice spread out along with his Zhen Qi. "Who wants to join our battle formation and fight against the dark gold serpent together?" Once he said this, everyone was shocked. Even those who were fighting against the dark gold serpent couldn't help but glance over. Yuan Henging laughed out of anger. "You have challenged my patience over and over again. Very good. Today, even if you don't want to come, you will have to come. Otherwise, I will kill you. Even if you want to kill me, you will have to pay with your life. I'm just afraid that you can't afford it." Yi Chen's voice was as sharp as metal, piercing through the water. The sharp qi released from his body was even sharper than when he was on the lakeside and contained an unshakable will. The previous fierce fight with Hong Qianjun had made Yi Chen's understanding of the sword intent reach a new level. If it weren't for the fact that he was limited by his cultivation, killing Yuan Henging would be as easy as killing a dog. Even so, Yi Chen was 30% sure that he could kill Yuan Henging, so there was no need for him to retreat. "Good. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." Eagle swooping in the sky. Yuan Henging was extremely angry. His body shook and rose straight up into the sky. After that, the Zhen Qi eagle flew out of his body and swooped down towards Yi Chen. Chop! Once the sword qi was released, the water started to flow in a reverse direction. The strong sword qi made people slightly dazed. Puff! The Zhen Qi eagle's chest was cut open by the sword. It let out a long cry, flapped its wings against the sword qi, and let out a loud metal clashing sound. In the next moment, the water was sucked into the space and formed into a 10-meter wide water ball. Then it expanded and exploded. Boom! A thunderous sound was heard. What? He blocked Yuan Henging's attack? Who the hell is this Sky Cloud Martial School's disciple? Even if Yuan Henging had only used 80% of his power, a late condensing reality, realm warrior, still couldn't compete with him. It's really incredible. Don't you think that it looks like the sword intent? Yeah, why didn't I think of it? That is definitely the sword intent. No wonder he is not afraid of Yuan Henging. Everyone was shocked. Yuan Hingying's eyes had turned red like a devil, which meant that he had already decided to kill Yi Qin. As for the fact that Yi Chun had mastered the sword intent, it didn't affect him at all. A dead sword artist. Why would he need the sword intent? If he didn't kill Yi Qin today, he would bring himself a powerful enemy. Today you will die. I wanted to kill you on the lakeside. No one has ever escaped from me. Yuan Hingying. Yuan Hingying pushed his Zhen Qi to its limit. An even bigger Zhen Qi eagle was formed. It flapped its wings, causing the water to flow in reverse. Enough. All of a sudden, a cold voice came. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice, and their faces changed. It was Xue Hen, the head disciple of the Invisible Martial School, a rank 7 institution in the Sky Serpent Nation. He was ranked 57th in the last Hidden Dragon rank, which was 2 ranks higher than Yuan Hingying. He said blandly, killing that black gold serpent is the most important thing right now. Once we kill him, you can do whatever you want. Yuan Hingying turned his head, his face darkened. Xue Hen, you and I are minding our own business. What right do you have to interfere with my business? I'm just reminding you. Don't forget why you came to the Heavenly Dream Ancient Region. Fighting over personal feelings will only bring you trouble. Yuan Hingying, Xue Hen is right. Killing that black gold serpent is the most important thing right now. Opening the gate of the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace is the most important thing. Let's put everything else aside for now. Lu Zhao, the head disciple of the White Deer Cave, also said. Yuan Hingying slightly restrained his Zhen Qi. He decided to wait for a while longer. Once he reached the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace and made some progress in his cultivation, he would immediately chase after Yi Qin. As for now, he wasn't so sure about killing Yi Qin. He had already seen how powerful Yi Qin's sword intent was during the Hidden Dragon rank. It was not something that ordinary people could imagine. Luo Han was secretly happy. Yuan Hingying didn't seem to be much more powerful than Yi Qin. Otherwise, he wouldn't have listened to Luo Hanshan's advice at all. It seemed that Yi Qin's decision was right. When one's power was almost the same as Yi Qin's, one should never step back. Otherwise, it would be harmful to one's future growth. Yi Qin didn't know what Luo Han was thinking. He said loudly, "Those who are willing to join our battle formation, come here right now. I can guarantee that you won't be harmed." I'm in too. And our 7 Mystery Martial School. Immediately, a large group of disciples came to Yi Qin's area. Most of them were from Yuan Hingying's battle formation. Seeing this, Yuan Hingying was enraged. His eyes shone with a bright red light. Hiss, hiss, hiss! The dark gold serpent was indeed a 5th-grade ancient beast. Even under the joint attack of all kinds of battle formations, it was still incomparably powerful. From time to time, 2 or 3 disciples would be whipped into 2 by its tail, blood splashing everywhere. However, by now, it had already become a cornered beast. Every single hidden dragon, ranked martial artist, was powerful enough to challenge those who were at a higher cultivation level than him. Although the dark gold serpent was powerful, how could it possibly withstand the joint attack of so many people? As time went by, it was forced to retreat step by step, unable to stop any effective attacks. Kill! Kill! Waves of fierce air power landed on the dark gold serpent's body, causing blood to spurt out. As for those hidden dragon-ranked martial artists, they would always attack the vital parts of the dark gold serpent. Their attacks were more than 10 times more powerful than those ordinary disciples. Obviously, they were the main attacking force. After around half an hour, the dark gold serpent let out a wail. Its gigantic body heavily thudded against the ground and stopped breathing. Creak! Once the dark gold serpent died, the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace seemed to have sensed it. The huge iron gate opened automatically, and a pure white light shone on everyone. Buzz! The Zhen Qi inside his body vibrated. Yi Qin found that under the white light, he had already reached the peak of the late condensing reality realm. It was as if he had reached the peak of the late condensing reality realm without any hindrance. Yi Chen couldn't help but be stunned for a moment, then thought to himself, maybe it's because of the fight against Hong Qianjun. My Zhen Qi cultivation has been strengthened, and I only need to cultivate for a few days to reach the peak of the late condensing reality realm. Chapter 154. Although the gap between the late condensing reality realm and the peak of the late condensing reality realm was not that big, but for Yi Chen, it was extremely valuable. Before, he was 30% sure that he could kill Yuan Hinging, but now he was 40% sure. If he could step into the clasping Yuan realm, killing Yuan Hinging would be as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. The other disciples all felt that their cultivation had improved, but none of them managed to make a breakthrough like Yi Chen. The gate of the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace is open. Let's go. Let's go. As soon as this white light shone on me, I felt so much better. I can definitely break into the clasping Yuan realm if I get in there. Except for the hidden dragon ranked martial artists, most of the other disciples had gone crazy. Why did they risk their lives to enter the Heavenly Dream ancient region? Of course, it was to break into the clasping Yuan realm. As long as they could become clasping Yuan realm martial artists, they would be as powerful as those hidden dragon ranked martial artists. They wouldn't need to be scared anymore, and they wouldn't need to lower their heads. Piss off. The hidden dragon ranked martial artists were the fastest. Their bodies flashed across the air and darted into the palace gate. Among them, Yuan Hinging had killed a disciple who had been blocking his way in a cruel and brutal way. Looking at those crazy disciples, Luo Han's said, "Let's go in as well." Yi Chen activated his Zhen Qi for a few times, found nothing wrong. He nodded and said, "This Heavenly Dream Battle Palace is indeed very helpful for breaking into the clasping Yuan realm." I think so too. The four of them followed closely behind the others and entered the palace, which was filled with a dense white light. Taking a deep breath, Zhu Mei said in surprise, "What a dense and pure Yuan Qi! It's so much better than the Yuan Qi from spirit stones. I can absorb it with almost no effort." In fact, even without Zhu Mei's reminder, the three of them had already sensed the change of the Yuan Qi once they entered the palace. However, the white light in the palace seemed to be way too strong. Once they entered, they were completely blinded. They couldn't see or sense anything. Even Yi Chen's soul power had lost its effect. It seemed that only the most basic sense of touch and hearing still existed. After about a quarter of an hour, the palace door behind him suddenly closed with a heavy sound. Then, as if there was a small earthquake in the palace, the rumbling sound was continuous, rising and falling. Suddenly, the floor under Yi Chen's feet sank, and there seemed to be something above sealing the space. "Be careful, the internal structure of the palace has changed," Yi Chen quickly warned, but no one answered. Letting out a bitter smile, Yi Chen realized that they had been separated from each other. Well, the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace wouldn't kill people on their own, so there shouldn't be any danger. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, Yi Chen was about to meditate and cultivate. Visible to the naked eye, the incomparably dense white light shrank into a ball and entered a huge crystal ball. The crystal ball was colorful and suspended in the air. Yi Chen quietly observed the situation. Buzz! The air slightly vibrated, and gradually, a human-shaped white silhouette appeared under the crystal ball. The silhouette was holding a great sword with a straight back. If one looked closely, one would find that this silhouette was exactly the same as Yi Chen's. Even the great sword was exactly the same. It was like a clone of Yi Chen. Of course, a silhouette was only a silhouette after all. It was pure white, without any facial features. At first glance, one could easily tell that it was created by some kind of energy and not a real person. Swoosh! Once the white silhouette was formed, it took a step forward and launched a sword attack towards Yi Chen. Peak of the late condensing reality realm. Yi Chen sensed that the Zhen Qi vibration of the silhouette was exactly the same as his own. The speed and power of the silhouette's attack were both amazing, almost as powerful as Luo Hanshan's. In other words, The silhouette was at the level of the Windy Nation's child-to-be. Yi Chen wasn't a passive person. And if he guessed it right, this was the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace's test. Only by defeating the silhouette could one be qualified to stay. Clang! The hidden cloud sword was pulled out of the scabbard. Yi Chen brushed past the silhouette. In the next moment, the silhouette's right arm, which was holding the sword, was sent flying into the air. Wisps of white light emerged from the wound. The silhouette, which had lost an arm, still tried to attack Yi Chen, but its head was chopped off by Yi Chen. The silhouette then transformed back into a stream of white light and flew back into the crystal ball. At the same time, in the enclosed space, which was less than 300 meters away, the same thing was happening. What the hell, it's as powerful as me, and it even has martial skills. It's only slightly weaker than me, but it seems to be quite hard to defeat it. Why is it different from the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace's test 10 years ago? It's always the same. Some people were fighting intensely against the silhouette, and it was hard to tell who would win. Although some of them could suppress the silhouette, they couldn't defeat it within a short period of time, and some of them were surprised and didn't know how to react. All in all, everyone was taking the test, and the difficulty of the test depended on each individual's strength. The first round of the test had ended. 5 of their disciples were hit by the silhouette and were sent out of the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. In the scorching ancient desert, beside the gigantic door of light, 5 silhouettes darted out of the door and landed on the thick sand. Yao Kai, Li Jing. These 5 people just happened to be the disciples of the sects that had failed the test. They crawled up from the sand with stunned expressions, and then they seemed to have thought of something. They had a dejected look on their faces, and they didn't even hear the shouts of their respective sects' elders. You failed. No one will blame you. Go back and work hard. Don't ever give up, otherwise you won't be able to make any progress in the future. How many of our disciples are left? What, you're the only one left? Some of the elders encouraged them, some asked about the situation inside, and some of them heard the bad news. They beat their chests and stamped their feet, crying. The people inside the palace didn't know what was happening outside, and even if they knew, they wouldn't be able to be distracted. As the first round of the test ended, the second round began. Child-level power from the Windy Nation. Yi Chen's face turned serious. The silhouette in front of him wasn't that powerful, but it was already so powerful in the second round. The third and fourth rounds and the later rounds would undoubtedly be even more difficult. If one wanted to pass the second round, he would not only have to rely on his own power, but also his fighting skills. The silhouette dashed over, and Yi Chen swung his sword. Puff! The silhouette's head flew out, transformed into a beam of white light, and merged into the crystal ball. The second round of the test ended, and the number of disciples who had failed doubled. In the first round, there were only 5, and in this round there were 35. As the number of people who had failed increased outside the Heavenly Dream Ancient region, all the institutions in the scorching ancient desert had learned about the situation inside the palace, and were all stunned. It wasn't that they didn't know that the Heavenly Dream Ancient region was a place that would devour people, but out of the 660 people who had entered the palace, only less than 300 managed to make it out alive. The others were either killed by the ancient demonic beasts inside, or killed by the disciples of other institutions, or killed by the ancient black gold boa. The death rate had reached a record high, over 55%. Fortunately, 1 out of 10 of the people who survived had a chance to step into the clasping Yuan realm. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be able to enter the Heavenly Dream Ancient region. Too many people died. Fortunately, not all of our disciples died. The third round of the test began. This time, the silhouette was as powerful as the top 100 of the last Hidden Dragon ranking, which was almost the same as Qiuheng, who was in the swamp and had the power to kill warriors at the same level as him within seconds. After easily killing the silhouette, Yi Chen sensed something different. Every time his attack landed on the silhouette's body, a magical vibration would be transmitted to his own body, and as the vibration became more and more obvious, Yi Chen realized that there was a stream of extremely pure yuan qi contained within the vibration, which would help him improve his cultivation. In other words, every time he fought, he was actually making progress. The longer he could last, the more progress he would make, and in the end, he might even be able to step into the clasping yuan realm. After figuring this out, Yi Chen let out a long breath and thought, I finally understand the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace is not only a test, but also an opportunity. It depends on whether I can grasp it or not. The third round of the test was not difficult for Yi Chen, but it was extremely difficult for the others. In the seventh sealed space, on the east side, Lu Han's Han was gasping heavily. The silhouette in front of him was slightly more powerful than him. It was almost impossible for him to defeat it with his own power. What should I do? Am I going to be eliminated like this? No, since it's a test, there must be a way to pass. Boom! Without giving Lu Han's Han too much time to think, the silhouette launched a heavy punch. The tremendous power contained in that punch was as great as a mountain, as great as a river, surging violently. East rising purple chi, great monument suppression. Lu Han's Han tried his best to push the extreme purple art and the great monument heavenly king fist to their limits, combining them into a special defensive skill to protect himself. Crack! The purple monument couldn't even hold for 3 blinks of an eye, and suddenly shattered. Lu Han's Han rolled away in embarrassment, dodging the terrifying punch launched by the silhouette. At the same time, his chi and blood were boiling inside his body, and his eyes were seeing stars. Oh, right, if I can reach the peak of the 9th level of the extreme purple art, I might be able to defeat him. Lu Hanshan's eyes shone. The 9th level of the extreme purple art was called East Rising Purple Chi. The peak of the 9th level of the extreme purple art could draw a purple lotus out of the air, and with the protection of the lotus, the defensive power of the cultivator would be raised by many times. The silhouette launched another attack, but Lu Han's Han didn't back off. Instead, he pushed the extreme purple art to its limit and launched 2 punches in a row. In the other sealed space, Su Jing had released her unprecedented power and was fighting against the silhouette. Every single punch landed on the silhouette's body, and the fierce gale generated by the punches shook the air like water. The golden light emitted by the 2 silhouettes was sometimes dim, sometimes brighter, and sometimes dimmer. If Lu Han's Han and Zhu Mei were here, they would definitely be shocked, because Su Jing's opponent was even more powerful than young Master North Snow and young Master Duanmu. According to their previous understanding of Su Jing, she had never reached this level, which meant that Su Jing had been hiding her real power all this time. Clang! The silhouette and Su Jing's fists clashed against each other and let out a terrifying metal-clanging noise. Dazzling fire sparks splashed everywhere, and the air was extremely hot. Break! While locking the silhouette's right arm with her left hand, Su Jing's body suddenly shook, and a solid golden light burst out from her body, striking on the silhouette's body and disabling it from moving. After that, Su Jing took the opportunity and threw out a punch, hitting the silhouette's head. With a popping sound, the silhouette transformed into a beam of white light and merged into the crystal ball. Chapter 155. Many people hadn't finished their 3rd round yet, but Yi Chen's 4th round had already begun. The white silhouette was at the early clasping yuan realm. His strong Zhen Qi vibration could be sensed from a long distance away, and the air started to ripple like water. Come on! Yi Chen had killed Hong Qianjun and fought against Yuan Hinging, so he was not afraid of this silhouette at all. He held the hidden cloud sword in his right hand and prepared to launch his sword intent. Swish! The white light figure suddenly disappeared, and when it reappeared, it was already in the sky above Yi Chen. It slashed down from the sky, and the majestic sword pressure was like a mountain, like a long river, piercing through the void, heading straight for Yi Chen. The attack was unexpectedly fierce. Yi Chen was slightly surprised. He raised his sword to block the attack. Crack! The floor under Yi Chen's feet was dented, and dark cracks spread out like a spider web. Dominate the world. With his tongue against his teeth, Yi Chen let out a shout, clenched his left hand into a fist, and threw out a punch. The silhouette didn't even think about it, and threw out a punch. Boom! Yi Chen's feet sank half a foot into the ground, while the silhouette was blown away by the power of Yi Chen's punch, and a slight crack appeared on its left arm. Just as I thought, this silhouette's defense is not as good as mine. Jumping out of the pit, Yi Chen released a thick stream of sword qi, chasing after the silhouette, intending to kill it with a single sword strike. The silhouette was at the early clasping yuan realm. It twisted its body in the air, narrowly dodged the sword qi, and then launched a thick stream of white sword qi towards Yi Chen in a weird posture. The air was torn apart like a piece of cloth, and the white sword qi seemed to be even more powerful than Yi Chen. Swirling clouds. From the late condensing reality realm to the peak of the late condensing reality realm, Yi Chen's Zhen Qi had been greatly improved. Now, it was much easier for him to perform the shocking cloud sword art, and he didn't feel any sluggishness like he did when he was fighting against Hong Qianjun. The sword qi that contained sword intent rose straight up, twisting the air and forming a huge tornado. It smashed the white sword qi with a single strike, and then swept towards the white figure with a rumbling sound. Sharp sword qi kept shooting out from it, sparkling and resplendent. Kacha, kacha, kacha. There was a mysterious power in the sealed space that was repairing the marks left by the previous battle. However, its speed of repair was not as fast as Yi Chen's destruction. Hundreds of sword marks instantly appeared on the ground and the walls. Each sword mark revealed a sharp aura. The white silhouette waved his sword wildly, forming a sword screen in front of him, blocking the tornado and the sword qi. His body was pushed back step by step. Bang! With his back against the wall, the white figure had nowhere to retreat. The white light on his body flashed rapidly as he slashed out with his sword. Roar! As soon as the white sword qi appeared, Dragon's roar sounded out, and the astonishing sword qi suppressed the air, bringing with it an indestructible concept that slashed apart the rampaging tornado. Still not dead? Mountain condensed sword qi. No one knew when Yi Chen had appeared above the remnants of the tornado. His clothes fluttered in the wind as he slashed down with his sword. Clang, 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 clang. Sparks flew everywhere, and the white figure raised his sword to block the sword qi, but he was suppressed to the point where he couldn't move. Moments later, the sword qi broke the opponent's treasured sword, and the white figure turned into white light. Buzz! As soon as Yi Chen's feet landed on the ground, a magical vibration power acted on his body. Under this vibration power, Yi Chen only felt that his bones and muscles were itching, and his Zhen Qi was circulating faster than before. In addition, because of the boiling of his qi and blood, Yi Chen's face had also turned red. What a magical vibration power! It can actually improve my body and speed up the Zhen Qi circulation. In the previous 3 rounds of tests, Yi Chen already knew that the vibration power could shake out the impurities in the body, which could increase the speed of training and refining Zhen Qi, but it could not directly increase one's cultivation. However, compared with the current vibration power, it was obvious which one was better. When the vibration power disappeared, Yi Chen looked inside his body and found that the Zhen Qi swirl in his dantian was gradually moving closer to the center and gradually became round. Now, I have almost stepped into the clasping yuan realm. I only need to wait for the right time. The shape of the Zhen Qi inside one's dantian would change according to one's cultivation level. In the mortal Qi realm, the Zhen Qi would be in the shape of a cyclone, but in the condensing reality realm, the Zhen Qi would be transformed into Zhen Qi, and the quantity and quality of the Zhen Qi would be greatly increased, which would transform into a Zhen Qi swirl. In the clasping yuan realm, the Zhen Qi swirl would gather together and form a perfect sphere. Puff! With a single punch, Yi Chen's power had improved once again. Now, even if he had to fight against Yuan Hinging, he had 50% confidence that he could defeat him or even kill him. At this moment, most of the people had just finished the third round. The number of people who had been eliminated kept rising. 5 people were eliminated in the first round, 15 in the second round, and over 240 people were eliminated in the third round. All of them had been sent out of the heavenly dream battle palace and returned to the scorching ancient desert. Hans Han, the Sky Cloud Martial School's head elder, glanced around and found Luo Hans Han in the crowd. Luo Hans Han gave a bitter smile and said, "Sorry, I failed to step into the clasping Yuan realm." Patting on Luo Hanshan's shoulder, the head elder grinned and said, "Don't worry, with your talent, it won't take you too long to step into the clasping Yuan realm. You don't have to rush." "HM," Luo Hanshan nodded and said, "It's not that I haven't made any progress. The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace is filled with rich Yuan Qi, and during the test, the vibrating power also affected my body. The Zhen Qi swirl inside my body has already gone through the third round of the test, and it seems to be shrinking. If I go back and cultivate for a while, I might be able to make a breakthrough." "That's great. Oh, right, where are the others? Are they in danger?" The head elder looked nervous. Every single one of Yi Qin and the other 3 were the future pillars of the Sky Cloud Martial School. Losing any one of them would be a great loss, especially Yi Qin. Geniuses who had mastered the half-step sword intent were not as common as cabbages. They were extremely rare. If they lost Yi Qin this time, no one knew how many years they would have to wait for the next time. Luo Hanshan glanced at the direction of the Purple Sun Martial School, then sent his Jin Qi to the head elder and said, "Head elder, Brother Yi has mastered the true sword intent, and he has also killed the Thunderhand, Ouyang Lai, and the little godly kick Ouyang Ming. These 2 had been trying to kill us, but in the end, they were killed by Brother Yi." "It's true." The head elder's voice was a bit high-pitched. Fortunately, he had used his Zhen Qi to send the message. Otherwise, he would have made a fool of himself. Luo Hanshan smiled and said, "How could I say something without thinking? It's absolutely true." "Great. Yi Qin has actually mastered the sword intent. He is indeed a peerless genius of our Sky Cloud Martial School. It seems like even the gods want our Sky Cloud Martial School to prosper." The head elder grinned from ear to ear. If Yi Qin, who had mastered the half-step sword intent, was like an unpolished jade, then Yi Qin, who had mastered the sword intent, was like a peerless jade, which didn't need to be polished anymore. Luo Hanshan continued, "Zhu Mei and Sister Su Jing are both doing well. They haven't come out yet. Perhaps they are currently in the 4th round of the test and have a great chance to break into the clasping Yuan realm." Luo Hanshan didn't use his Jin Qi to send this message, but the 4th elder and the other inner elders all heard it. The 4th elder laughed out loud and said, "Compared to our generation, you are so much more outstanding. In just a few years, we will have to give up our positions." "Hee, it's better for us to give up our positions. Nowadays, the world belongs to young people." "You're right. Back then, when we were fighting against the 9 evil cult, our Sky Cloud Martial School suffered a great loss. Our generation hasn't even grown up yet, but we have already become inner elders. You are much more outstanding than us. You can still take up this position." Compared to the other institutions, the Sky Cloud Martial School's side was filled with laughter. In the Purple Sun Martial School's direction, the head elder of the Purple Sun Martial School had a gloomy look on his face. He said to an inner elder who was standing next to him, "I wonder how Ouyang Lai and Ouyang Ming are doing. As for the others, they are most likely dead." "HM, Ouyang Lai and Ouyang Ming are very powerful. It's not very likely that they are dead. The others are not as powerful, so they are more likely to be dead." The head elder looked at Luo Hanshan. A killing intent flashed across his eyes. "It seems that they haven't finished the task I gave them." Luo Hanshan came out alive. "Don't worry about Luo Hanshan. He hasn't reached the clasping Yuan realm yet. If you want to worry, you should worry about that kid named Yichin. Once he reaches the Clasping Yuan realm, he will be as powerful as a mid-Clasping Yuan realm martial artist. He will be a great threat to our Purple Sun martial school in the future. We can't let him live. No matter what, we have to wait for Ouyang Lai and Ouyang Ming to come out first. All of a sudden, a raging growl came from the multiple mountain martial school. The growl was mixed with Zhen Qi. It even raised the sand within a radius of tens of zhang into the air. What did you say? The multiple mountain martial school's head elder glared at the multiple mountain martial school's disciple who had just walked out. The disciple was frightened by the head elder's fierce aura. He hurriedly lowered his head and said, "Head elder, I didn't see our eldest brother Hong Qianjun in the heavenly dream battle palace, but I think he should be fine. He is an early Clasping Yuan realm martial artist, and all the other hidden dragon ranked martial artists were there. Except for them, who else could kill our eldest brother?" The multiple mountain martial school's head elder yelled out. "Then where did he go?" "The heavenly dream battle palace will close in a quarter of an hour." "This, I don't know either." If something bad happens to Hong Qianjun, our multiple mountain martial school will definitely investigate this thoroughly, find out who is behind this. If I find out, I will kill his whole family. Luo Hanshan's pupils shrunk. He hurriedly took back his sight. Hong Qianjun was killed by Yi Qin. He and Zhu Mei and Su Jing had witnessed it with their own eyes. At this moment, he couldn't afford to leave even the slightest trace. Otherwise, if the multiple mountain martial schools people noticed it, it would bring an endless disaster to the Sky Cloud Martial School. The head elder sensed that Luo Hanshan's facial expression had changed. He hurriedly sent his Jin Qi to Luo Hanshan. "Hanshan, what's wrong?" "What's wrong?" "Tell me honestly, I'm your uncle. Don't you trust me?" Hesitating for a while, Luo Hanshan decided to tell the truth. In the Sky Cloud Martial School, he trusted his father Luo Xinglia and the head elder the most. Both of them were his closest relatives. Head elder Hong Qianjun is already dead, and the one who killed him is Yi Qin. But this whole thing was started by Ouyang Lai and Ouyang Ming from the Purple Sun Martial School. If we didn't kill Hong Qianjun back then, Hong Qianjun would definitely kill us. Ouyang Lai, Ouyang Ming instigated Hong Qianjun to kill you. He must have promised him some benefits, right? I thought it was something serious. He killed Hong Qianjun. If you didn't kill him, he would kill you. This is simple, but except for your father and me. Don't tell anyone else about this. Although our Sky Cloud Martial School is not a coward, we still don't want to start a war with the multiple mountain martial school. I know. Chapter 156. The first, second, and third rounds had eliminated over 260 people in total. There were still around 30 people left. Among these 30 people, 8 of them were already early Clasping Yuan realm warriors. It would be very hard for them to make a breakthrough, but they could still reach the peak level early Clasping Yuan realm. The remaining 20 or so people might not be able to reach the Clasping Yuan realm for sure. After all, everyone had different situations. For example, among the people who had been eliminated in the first 3 rounds, 6 of them had made it to the Clasping Yuan realm and did not even have the chance to take the 4th round. The 9th sealed room in the north. The blade light danced like snowflakes, fluttering in the air like a dream. Amidst the blade light, 2 pure white silhouettes clashed with each other from time to time, creating thousands of sparks. Although these 2 silhouettes were both white, one of them was slightly transparent, which was obviously a structure of energy. The other person's white clothes fluttered in the wind, and his temperament was out of this world. One didn't need to look at him with their eyes to feel the gentleness of the spring breeze. After pushing back his opponent with a single blade attack, the white-robed young man finally relaxed his eyebrows. He had finally reached the Clasping Yuan realm after being stuck at the peak of the late condensing reality realm for 2 years. Raising his head, the young man revealed a handsome and gentle face. If someone was here, they would definitely recognize him as the head disciple of the North Snow Martial Academy, young Master North Snow. the third sealed room in the north. The head disciple of the South Rudra Martial School, Lotus Fairy Qin Yulian, had been promoted. The 18th sealed room in the south. Zhu Mei was eliminated. The 14th sealed room in the south. Zhen Qi Vibration, which only belonged to early clasping Yuan realm martial artists, burst out from Su Jing's body. With a single punch, she shattered the head of the white silhouette, letting out a heavy breath. Su Jing slightly closed her eyes and murmured to herself, "Finally, I can practice that body-strengthening technique. I wonder if it is as powerful as the ancient scroll said." Once Su Jing made the breakthrough, a total of 3 clasping Yuan realm martial institutions in the Windy Nation had reached the level of clasping Yuan realm. They were the head disciple of the North Snow Martial Academy, Qin Yulian from the Rudra Martial School, and the core disciple of the Sky Cloud Martial School, Su Jing. As for young master Duanmu, Blade Yu, Rain Hero Nangong Yin, Yuan Xuemei, Lu Wuxiang, and Ji Xuyan, they had all been eliminated in the first 3 rounds, just like Luo Han's Han. Right now, only Lynch and Yi Chen hadn't made any moves among the disciples of the Windy Nation. Scorching ancient desert, outside the Door of Light, young Master North Snow, Qin Yulian, and Su Jing were teleported out one after another. Junior sister Su Jing, you've broken through. Both Lu Han's Han and Zhu Mei hadn't made any breakthroughs. Although they were a bit disappointed, they soon stopped worrying about it. As a martial artist, the most important thing was to be persistent. A temporary loss wasn't a big deal, but a lifetime's worth of gains and losses was the most important. Perhaps, even if they didn't make any breakthroughs today, they would still be able to make great progress in the future. Of course, this trip to the Heavenly Dream Ancient Region was full of dangers, and the 4 of them had gone through all kinds of hardships to get into the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. If none of them had made any breakthroughs, that would be too unreasonable. Seeing Su Jing right now, the powerful sense of power released from her body told them the answer. Su Jing nodded and said, "The 6th round is not something that an early clasping Yuan realm martial artist can pass. I lost within 10 attacks." In the 4th round, she had already reached the early clasping Yuan realm. In the 5th round, the white silhouette had made some adjustments according to her cultivation, but she was still able to handle it. She had to exchange over 100 attacks before she could pass. However, in the 6th round, the white silhouette's power had reached the peak level mid-clasping Yuan realm. Each of its attacks had the power to shake mountains. Haha, it's great that you have reached the early clasping Yuan realm. As for whether you can pass the 6th round or not, it doesn't matter. The head elder hadn't been this happy for a long time. First, Yi Chen had attained the sword intent and killed the 2 top-ranked disciples of the Purple Sun Martial School. Then Su Jing had stepped into the clasping Yuan realm and become a powerful young martial artist who was as powerful as young Master Emerald. All of these were great news for the Sky Cloud Martial School. Therefore, the Sky Cloud Martial School needed to hold a big banquet and invite all the powerful martial artists from all over the Windy Nation. The elders of the North Snow Martial Academy and the South Rudra Martial School were also very happy. Finally, one of their disciples had reached the clasping Yuan realm. Especially for the North Snow Martial Academy, apart from young Master North Snow, they also had the North Snow Fast Blade Lynch, who had yet to come out. Therefore, there was a 90% chance that he would become a clasping Yuan realm martial artist. You've all come out. Only Lynch and Yi Chen are still in there. I wonder how they are doing now. Luo Han's Han said. Su Jing said, I think Yi Chen will definitely succeed. Indeed, there's a great chance. The head elder and the 4th elder both nodded. In the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace, in the 21st sealed room in the north, no one had ever imagined that Lynch would be able to last until now. It seemed that everyone had underestimated his power, because in the 4th round, the white silhouette had already reached the early clasping Yuan realm, and in the 5th round, it was even more powerful. It was only one step away from the mid-clasping yuan realm. Of course, this was only for ordinary martial artists. If the white silhouette had been replaced by Hong Qianjun, Lynch would have been defeated long ago. After all, Hong Qianjun was able to fight against ordinary mid-clasping yuan realm martial artists. The battle had already started long ago. The only reason why Lynch was able to stay undefeated was because of his amazing willpower. Right now, the blade aura released from his body was getting stronger and stronger. It seemed like it was going to transform. Die. Each blade was faster than the previous one. The only thought in Lynch's mind right now was to be faster, 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 faster than his original limit and reach a higher level. Crack! The white silhouette, who had been steadily suppressing Lynch, suddenly stopped moving. Its right arm, which was holding the great blade, was sent flying into the air. In the next moment, its body was cut into dozens of pieces and turned into white light. Buzz! The Zhenqi swirl in Lynch's dantian vibrated at an extremely high speed and eventually shrank into a spherical shape, while the Zhenqi swirled inwards. I made a breakthrough. I didn't expect to comprehend the blade intent first, and then make a breakthrough in cultivation. If he hadn't comprehended the blade intent just now, no matter how fast his blade was, he would have failed. However, he succeeded, and became an early clasping yuan realm martial artist. Moreover, he had also comprehended the blade intent, which was the dream of all saber artists. After the leader of the village, Shui Warren, he was the second person in the Windy Nation who had comprehended the blade intent. The sixth round of the test, Lynch gasped, because he had made a breakthrough in cultivation. The white silhouette had adjusted its power according to his own. It had reached the peak of the mid-clasping yuan realm, which was even more terrifying than Su Jing, Qin Yulian, and young Master North Snow's sixth round of the test. The higher one's cultivation was, the more difficult it would be to challenge someone with a higher cultivation. Lynch had just stepped into the clasping yuan realm, which meant that he was at the bottom of the clasping yuan realm, while the white silhouette was at the peak of the mid-clasping yuan realm. The gap between them was not just one level, but 1.5 levels. Even if Lynch had comprehended the blade intent, he would not be able to defeat it. In the entire South Shore region, there were less than 5 young martial artists who could challenge someone with a higher cultivation than them. For example, the top 3 young martial artists in the Hidden Dragon rank, although they were only at the mid-clasping yuan realm, they were as powerful as the leaders of the top 5 martial artists in the Windy Nation. However, in terms of talent, they were much more powerful than Lynch. As for Lynch's blade intent, it was not strange at all. Many of the top 30 young martial artists in the Hidden Dragon rank had comprehended the blade intent and the sword intent, not to mention the top 3 young martial artists in the South Shore region. The white silhouette had only launched one attack, but Lynch had been forced back for 10 steps. For the second attack, Lynch had barely dodged. For the third attack, blood gushed out from the corner of Lynch's mouth. For the sixth attack, Lynch was defeated and was sent out of the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. Since then, Yi Chan was the only one among the young martial artists in the Windy Nation. Lynch is out. On the scorching ancient desert, all the elders of the top 5 martial institutions of the Windy Nation looked over, staring at Lynch, who had just been sent out of the Light Gate. Lynch walked to the North Snow Martial Academy with a bland look. The other 4 martial institutions had all gained something, so their facial expressions were still normal. Only the group of people from the Purple Sun Martial Academy looked gloomy. Their eyes were filled with blood streaks, as if they wanted to kill someone. Head Elder Ouyang Lai and Ouyang Ming might be able to hold on till now. It's hard to say. An inner elder of the Purple Sun Martial Academy couldn't stand the atmosphere anymore, and said something that even he himself didn't believe. The head elder of the Purple Sun Martial Academy snorted coldly. He didn't want to talk anymore, although his subconscious didn't want to admit that Ouyang Lai and Ouyang Ming were already dead. His mind told him that it was hopeless. When we go back this time, secretly arrange some people to kill the top disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School. I want their happy event to turn into a funeral. Of course, we can't let the Sky Cloud Martial School grow any further. In the fifth sealed space in the west of the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace, Yuan Hing smashed the head of the white silhouette with a palm attack, then laughed out loud. His face was filled with pride, arrogance. The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace can't possibly let me break into the mid-clasping Yuan realm from the early clasping Yuan realm all of a sudden. But reaching the peak of the early clasping Yuan realm has also largely improved my fighting power. Disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School, wait for me to kill you. Now I can crush you to death with only one hand. Especially that little bastard who has mastered the sword intent. I want you to die miserably. Yuan Hing seemed to have imagined himself killing Yi Qin. He laughed out loud again. Zhen Qi surged out from his body, and that great and fierce Zhen Qi made him look like a devil. In the 16th sealed room in the east, Zhuang Fei slapped on the back of the white silhouette. The extremely condensed power of his palm instantly shattered the silhouette, without even a little bit of power leaking out. The Windy Nation will be mine in the future. After killing the white silhouette, Zhuang Fei released an aura that was not any weaker than Yuan Hingying's. Apparently, he had reached the peak of the early clasping Yuan realm. No one had ever thought that he would be able to reach the next level. After all, he was only ranked 68th in the last Hidden Dragon ranking, and was one of the weakest ones among the 9 nations. Yi Qin didn't know about the other people's changes, and he didn't have the time to think about it. This time, the white silhouette was quite powerful among the mid-clasping Yuan realm martial artists, which was only slightly weaker than the peak of the mid-clasping Yuan realm. However, this was already his limit. He was only able to fight until now because of his increasingly powerful sword intent. When Yi Qin had just entered the Heavenly Dream Ancient region, his sword intent was still in a relatively young stage. After the fight against Hong Qianjun, his sword intent had started to grow and was still in the early stage. Now, after 5 rounds of tests, his sword intent had grown again and was only 1 step away from reaching the entry level. The entry-level sword intent was terrifying. It was much more powerful than the sword intent at the early stage. In comparison, the current Yi Chen would only need a few moves to defeat himself, who had just entered the Heavenly Dream Ancient region. 1,000 moves. After a whole 1,000 moves, Yi Chen chopped off the white silhouette's head with 1 sword strike. At that moment, he only felt dizzy. But of course, no matter how tired he was, it was all worth it. The Zhen Qi swirl in his dantian had finally become a perfect Zhen Qi swirl. At this moment, Yi Chen had officially reached the clasping Yuan realm. Chapter 157, 100 Sword Attack. Intending to test the power of an early clasping Yuan realm martial art, Yi Chen's body shook, and he activated the pure Jun Jin Qi, a top-rank mortal realm martial art. Shwa, 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 shwa. Countless condensed qi swords floated around Yi Chen's body. There were exactly 100 of them, and all of them flew in the same direction. That shocking sword aura was extremely horrifying, as if it could pierce through the surreal space and kill people with its aura. Go! As Yi Chen waved his hand, those qi swords turned into beams of white light, shooting at the wall in front of him as fast as lightning. The iron-like wall slightly shook, and powder began to fall down. The whole wall had been shattered by those qi swords. 100 qi swords, each one of them could kill a peak-level late condensing reality realm martial artist. Even a peak-level early clasping Yuan realm martial artist would be turned into a beehive. If the pure Jun Jin Qi was a low-rank earth realm martial art, its power would be doubled. While estimating the power of those qi swords, Yi Chen was secretly shocked. Without using any other skills, he could easily kill a peak-level early clasping Yuan realm martial artist with only the pure Jun Jin Qi, which was indeed beyond his expectation. Of course, he also knew that the power of those chi swords was based on normal martial artists, and those genius martial artists would not be killed so easily. He still had to use his sword intent and the sky cloud sword art. Slowly letting out a breath, Yi Chen murmured to himself, "With my current power, I should be able to beat a peak-level, mid-clasping yuan realm martial artist. But I wonder how I would fare against a late clasping yuan realm martial artist." The higher the level of a martial artist, the bigger the gap would be. Before reaching the clasping yuan realm, one might be able to beat a martial artist who was 2 ranks higher than him. But after reaching the clasping yuan realm, the possibility of beating a martial artist who was 2 ranks higher than him was very low. Even though Yi Chen's sword intent was almost at the entry level, and his soul power was unparalleled, he would still be limited. However, it was just a guess. He might be able to beat a martial artist who was 2 ranks higher than him. The 6th test. Whoosh! A white silhouette appeared under the colorful crystal ball. The white silhouette only stood there, but its Zhen Qi was already like a tsunami. The air around it was suddenly compressed into a beautiful arc, late clasping Yuan realm. Yi Chen's face looked extremely serious. The pressure that the white light shadow gave him was the same as that of the 4th elder of the sky, Cloud Martial School. Just the aura alone could create a terrifying pressure that made people unable to resist. Qi. The white silhouette swung its sword. Before the sword Qi arrived, the wall behind Yi Chen caved in and some powder fell down. To be able to create such terrifying lethality with just sword pressure, it's indeed troublesome. Yi Chen hurriedly held his sword horizontally to block the incoming attack. He couldn't help but think of the middle-aged man in black from the Ghost Corpse Mountain, who had tried to kill them before. That man had thrown out a palm attack, and the horrifying palm pressure had turned dozens of men in black into piles of blood. It was exactly the same as this sword pressure. Both were powers that only late clasping Yuan realm martial artists could have. Clang! The white sword Qi slashed onto the hidden cloud sword. Yi Chen seemed to hear the mournful cry of the hidden cloud sword. It was a sign that the sword was about to be destroyed. The sword Qi unleashed by the opponent was unimaginably powerful. If it wasn't a low-ranked great sword, it would be impossible for it to withstand the pressure. Break! Yi Chen let out a great roar. He pushed his pure Jun Zhen Qi to its limit and poured all of it into the hidden cloud sword. In the next moment, the white sword Qi was shattered. Faint cracks appeared on the surface of the hidden cloud sword and spread out. Hold on for a while. Let me show you the last of your power. The hidden cloud sword was damaged. Yi Chen didn't feel good about it. Although this sword hadn't been with him for a long time, it had accompanied him to fight until now. It had killed one enemy after another, and it had even killed Hong Qianjun, who was ranked in the hidden dragon ranking. It could be said that it had made great achievements. Yi Chen firmly stabilized the hidden cloud sword with his Zhen Qi, and for the first time, he launched the shocking cloud sword art. Swirling clouds. The sharp sword Qi rose straight up, twisting the airflow and forming a huge tornado. This time, the tornado was even more solid and was emitting a faint light. It looked like a pillar in the sky, rolling towards the white silhouette. From time to time, the sword Qi would shoot out. Clang! 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 The white silhouette calmly waved its sword to block the sword Qi. Although it didn't seem to move fast, every sword strike landed on the weakest part of the sword Qi. One after another, the sword Qi was shattered, and the tornado was right in front of the silhouette. Abruptly, the white silhouette's body flashed, and unexpectedly, it raised its sword to block the tornado. Puff! The white silhouette passed through the tornado, and the tornado behind it suddenly disappeared, turning into a violent airflow that spread out in all directions. Shocking clouds. Yi Chen had never used the last movement of the shocking cloud sword art. It was not because he couldn't, but because it consumed too much Shin Qi. When he was at the late condensing reality realm, he couldn't use it at all. Now that he had reached the early clasping Yuan realm, He could finally use this movement. Yi Chen's body floated in the air like a cloud, and then he waved his sword down. It was so light that it seemed like he was just brushing away the clouds. Crack! A thunderous sound rang out, and the sword Qi shot out. There was no way to dodge this sword attack. The white silhouette didn't have any human emotions. It raised its sword to block the attack mechanically. With a cracking sound, the white sword in its hand was broken, and a deep sword mark appeared on its chest. However, it wasn't completely killed and was only seriously injured. In fact, the white silhouette was at a disadvantage. The white sword in its hand was made of energy, and it wasn't very hard. In other words, Yi Chen didn't win with this movement, but with his sword. As his feet landed on the ground, Yi Chen let out a bitter laugh. He then lowered his head and looked at the hidden cloud sword. The hidden cloud sword, which had lost the stability of its Zhen Qi, had shattered inch by inch. It turned into thousands of pieces and fell to the ground, making a clear and melodious sound. I lost. Without the hidden cloud sword, Yi Chen was no match for the white silhouette, although the white silhouette had also lost its sword. Yi Chen was preparing to fight with the white silhouette with his bare hands. It wouldn't matter even if he was eliminated. However, the sudden turn of events made him confused. The white silhouette automatically jumped into the crystal ball. It didn't turn into a white light and enter the crystal ball. Rumble. The sealed room started shaking, and 4 doors appeared in the room. 3 of them were connected to a dark and deep tunnel, and the last one was a light door. Recalling what the head elder had told him, Yi Chen's knitted eyebrows loosened. The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace was extremely mysterious. Every test was different, but as long as one could pass all the tests, 3 treasures would be unlocked. These 3 treasures could be treasures, secret manuals, or other extremely precious things. However, if one wanted to get those treasures, he or she would have to fight for them with his or her own efforts. If he or she couldn't get those treasures, that would be his or her own problem. It seems that no one has passed all the tests in the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace for over 100 years. I didn't expect that I would break the record this time. Is there anyone else? It was not easy to pass all the tests. Later on, the white silhouette would adjust its power according to the individual's condition. For example, in the 6th round, Lynch's opponent was a peak-level mid-clasping yuan realm martial artist, while Yi Chen's opponent was a late-level clasping yuan realm martial artist. The 2 of them were only half a stage apart, but their power was completely different. Normally, even 2 peak-level mid-clasping yuan realm martial artists might not be able to defeat a late-level clasping yuan realm martial artist. However, Yi Chen had a premonition that he was not the only one who had passed all the tests. All those hidden dragon ranked martial artists were not ordinary people, especially the 3 ranked in the top 60. They were 1 Bloodless Blade Mo Wuxue, the top-ranked disciple of the Formless Martial School, Shuehen, and Killer Eagle Yuan Hinging. The young Master Devil, Lung Wuqing, was not someone to be underestimated. If he could reach the clasping yuan realm, his power would be absolutely terrifying. After all, he was practicing the Earth Devil Body refining art, which made it extremely hard for him to improve his power, but once he did, his power would increase by leaps and bounds. Yi Chen waved his hand, and the low-ranked Great Spear, which was placed in the corner of the room, flew into his hand. He felt a bit helpless. The low-ranked Great Spear was much more precious than the hidden cloud sword. However, he was a sword user, and only with a great sword in his hand could he activate his sword intent to the extreme. Without a great sword, his power would be greatly reduced, and even a low-ranked great weapon wouldn't be able to make up for it. I have to get a low-ranked great sword in the future. After making up his mind, Yi Chen looked at the 4 doors. If he guessed correctly, the other 3 doors were the entrances to the treasures, while the light door was the portal to the exit of the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. Without any hesitation, Yi Chen walked towards the door on the left. As for the light door, he didn't even think about it. Since he had already come in, How could he leave empty-handed? Not long after Yi Chen walked into the passage, the other places started to change one after another. Just like the rumors said, if I pass all the tests, I will have the chance to get 3 treasures. These 3 treasures are mine now. Putting the blood-red, thin blade back into the sheath, Emo Wuxiue let out an evil smile and stepped into the left passage. In another room, Yuan Hing licked his lips. The 6th round was indeed out of his expectation, and he almost failed. Luckily, at the crucial moment, he still had a secret ace up his sleeve, which was why he was not eliminated. However, this ace could only be used once, so he did not dare to use it too many times. Thinking of the 3 treasures, Yuan Hing couldn't wait any longer. No matter who it was, whoever stood in his way would have to die. Not only Emo Wuxiue and Yuan Hing had passed all the tests. Lung Wuqing was also one of them. He had already stepped into the clasping yuan realm, which meant that his fighting power had increased by 2 times. Now his body was as hard as a rank 5 martial zombie, which meant that he could take an attack from an early clasping yuan realm martial artist without losing his life. The last one who passed all the tests was not the top-ranked disciple of the formless martial school, Shuehen, but the top-ranked disciple of the Emerald Martial Palace, Zhuangfei. He had been holding the position of the most powerful young martial artist in the Windy Nation, and had never thought about giving it up. This time was no exception. The passages were connected to one room after another, which were complicated and hard to count. Sometimes there were even stairs leading to the upper or lower floors, which was quite confusing. Fortunately, there was a light door in each room, which could teleport people out at any time. Otherwise, Yi Chen would have to rely on the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace to teleport him out after he got the treasures, entering one room after another, then walking out, and so on. Buzz! After an unknown period of time, a wave of vibration came from below. This wave of vibration came so suddenly, as if it was alerting the people nearby that it was there. Is this the first treasure? Letting out a long breath, Yi Chen turned around and walked towards the room behind him. There was a door in that room, which led to the lower floor. Chapter 158. The vibrations grew clearer and clearer, and soon Yi Chen arrived at a large room. The room looked like it was pieced together by dozens of ordinary rooms. It was 100 square meters and 130 meters tall. A thick pillar stood in the middle of the room. At the top of the pillar was a pure white ball of light. Inside the ball of light, a dark red secret manual floated quietly. A manual? Yi Chen's mind flickered. He just needed an Earth realm martial art. He wondered what kind of manual this was. Taking a few steps forward, Yi Chen sensed something and hurriedly dodged to the right. Puff! A 2-meter-long white light beam silently rose from under the floor. It moved at an incredible speed and let out a sharp swishing sound. If Yi Chen didn't have such a sharp sense of perception, he might have been penetrated by the light beam and teleported out of the palace. Standing still, Yi Chen raised his head and looked at the sky. He murmured to himself, "There's a trap on the floor. I better not fly over from the air." The Heavenly Dream Battle Palace is a mysterious place. How could it have such a big flaw? There must be a more dangerous trap in the air. Thinking of this, Yi Chen took out a low-rank soul stone from his pocket and threw it into the air. Puff! A small hole appeared on the left side of the wall, from which a beam of light shot out and shattered the low-rank soul stone into pieces, leaving not even a trace of ash behind. With my protective Zhenqi, I won't be able to defend myself. Yi Chen estimated the power of that beam of light, then shook his head. Flying over from the air was not an option. It would only lead to death. Therefore, he could only walk over from the ground. Raising his foot, Yi Chen put it down again. A silhouette appeared on the other side of the door. It was the young master devil Lung Wuqing. Lung Wuqing was slightly surprised to see Yi Chen. He didn't think that Yi Chen would be able to survive until now, which meant that Yi Chen had also stepped into the clasping yuan realm. "What I need is a martial art manual. What kind do you need?" Lung Wuching didn't move and asked. Yi Chen said, "Cultivation technique." Nodding his head, Lung Wuching said, "That's easy. If it's a martial technique manual, it'll belong to me. If it's a cultivation technique manual, it'll belong to you. If it's neither, we'll have to rely on our own abilities. I'm sure you don't want to get into a meaningless fight." Lung Wuching was still quite afraid of Yi Chen, an early clasping Yuan realm martial artist who had mastered the sword intent, was definitely a tough nut to crack. He would rather face the other hidden dragon ranked martial artists than face Yi Chen directly. Of course, it was not that he was afraid of Yi Chen. He just did not want to fight a tough and fruitless battle. Sure, but I have to add one more condition. Now that the martial technique manual is in my hands, you cannot take it away for free. You have to exchange it for something of equal value, and vice versa. Yi Chen agreed. He was not a battle maniac, and it was best to avoid unnecessary battles, not to mention that he had lost the Hidden Cloud sword, so he could not use his full strength. All right, Lung Wuching did not believe that he would not be able to get the manual. What Yi Chen said actually stimulated his competitive spirit. Pausing for a second, Yi Chen glanced around and said, "Let's get closer to the stone pillar first. This place is not easy to deal with." Hearing this, Lung Wuching stamped his foot heavily, and his chi spread out along the ground. Whoosh! 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 White light thorns emerged from the ground one after another, piercing through the air. After 2 blinks of an eye, the white light thorns disappeared. Although Lung Wuching had memorized the location of the white light thorns, he was a prudent person, so he stamped his foot again and spread out even more chi. The next moment, half of the room was filled with white light thorns. The tips of the light thorns were as cold as the stars in the sky, making one's scalp numb. Lung Wuching slightly frowned and said, "The light thorns appear in different places every time, and it is disadvantageous to both sides in a fight. Then I hope the manual is either a martial technique or martial technique." Yi Chen smiled faintly. He did not agree with Lung Wuching's words. In a fight, as long as he used his chi to lock his position, he would not have to worry about his opponent triggering the mechanism by vibrating the ground. The two carefully walked towards the stone pillar in the middle of the room. Swoosh! Light thorns shot out from time to time. While the two dodged, they did not dare to use up all of their chi. Neither of them could be sure if there was a mechanism at the place where they landed. If there was a mechanism, they could quickly dodge it, and if there was no mechanism, they could gather a whole breath of chi again. As for whether there was a mechanism at every place they landed, it was unlikely to happen. If it did, it would mean that they were extremely unlucky today. With their cultivation, although a breath of Jin Qi could last longer than normal early clasping Yuan realm warriors, it could only last 7 times. After 7 times, if there was still a mechanism at the place where they landed, they would definitely be eliminated. Fortunately, this had not happened yet. The most dangerous situation was that there would only be 4 traps in a row. Soon, the two approached the stone pillar at the same time. "Come down." Almost at the same time, the two reached out their hands towards the light ball on the stone pillar, trying to pull it down. The light ball did not move at all. At this moment, Yi Chen's hands, which were filled with Jin Qi, stuck on the stone pillar and quickly flew up. Along the way, he changed his hands rhythmically, making sure that one of his hands was always touching the stone pillar. Lung Wuching thought for a while. He believed that Yi Chen did not do this for no reason. There might be danger in the air, so he should not act rashly. Lung Wuching followed suit. His hands, which were filled with Jin Qi, also stuck on the stone pillar, chasing after Yi Chen. He was as agile as a monkey. The stone pillar was only 220 meters tall. Within 2 blinks of an eye, Yi Chen had already reached the top. With his left hand and feet stuck on the stone pillar, Yi Chen's right hand formed a claw, trying to tear the light ball apart. Pop! The surface of the light ball had a strong elasticity, which almost sent Yi Chen flying. Good. The iron spear landed in his hand. Yi Qin gave a low growl and pierced the light ball with the spear. Clang! The tip of the spear was blocked by a hand, which made a metal clashing sound. Let's see what we can do. Yi Qin laughed. Red flames rose on the iron spear, which shook off Lung Wuqing's hand. Then he took the opportunity to whip the light ball. The light ball stayed where it was, motionless. Its surface was dented, making a creaking sound. Earth Demon's body-breaking cut! Lung Wuqing did not fight with Yi Qin. He turned his hand into a knife and chopped at the other side of the light ball. Then, as if they had discussed it, the two of them attacked the light ball again and again. The light ball was dented and distorted. Just at the moment when the light ball collapsed, Yi Qin's body shook. Countless qi swords floated around his body, flying toward the light ball and Lung Wuqing, covering the whole area. Lung Wuqing's eyes flashed with cold light. He raised his hands to protect his face. After a series of metal explosions, Lung Wuqing was unharmed. Those qi swords could not even break his skin. When he put down his hands, he found that the light ball had been broken, and the dark red secret book fell into Yi Qin's hands. Humph! Although Lung Wuqing was angry, he did not want to fight. It was too inconvenient to fight from above. Yi Qin's body went down and landed on the ground. Glancing at Lung Wuqing, Yi Qin opened the dark red secret book and looked at it. After a while, Lung Wuqing, who was standing 20 steps away, asked, "What kind of secret book is it?" Yi Qin smiled and said, "You are lucky. It is a palm secret book, and it is very powerful. It has reached the middle rank of Earth Realm. To be honest, even I am a bit tempted." Lung Wuqing's face darkened. "But we had a deal. Are you going back on your word?" Yi Qin shook his head. "What do you want to trade for it?" Without hesitation, Lung Wuqing untied the heavy bag on his back and threw it to Yi Qin. He said, "There are 7 low-rank Earth Realm secret books, 65 top-rank Human Realm secret books, a low-rank dagger, a low-rank light armor, a low-rank short knife, 3 red light fireballs, and 5 herbs. Each of them is worth no less than 50,000 gold. They are all yours." Taking the bag, Yi Qin was surprised. "Don't you want to look at the secret books? They might not be suitable for you." Lung Wuqing said, "As long as they are martial arts, they are suitable for me. There is no need to look at them." He opened the bag. Just like Lung Wuqing said, there were quite a lot of things inside. If he was not mistaken, only a small part of these things were obtained by Lung Wuqing himself. Most of them should be from disciples from other martial institutions. However, he did not care about the origin of these things. The value of the things inside the bag was astonishing. The 7 low-rank Earth Realm secret books were worth more than 21,000 low-rank soul stones. The 65 top-rank Human Realm secret books were worth 3,250 low-rank soul stones. A low-rank dagger was worth no less than 5,000 low-rank soul stones. A low-rank light armor was even more valuable, probably worth more than 20,000 low-rank soul stones. The low-rank short knife was worth no less than 8,000 low-rank soul stones. The 3 red light fireballs were even more powerful weapons. They were powerful enough to kill a normal early clasping yuan realm martial artist. If a mid-clasping yuan realm martial artist was caught off guard, he would also be blown to death. Each of them was worth no less than 2 million gold, which was 5,000 low-rank soul stones. 3 red light fireballs were worth 15,000 low-rank soul stones. As for the 3 herbs, they were the least valuable, but they were still worth 200,000 gold, which was equivalent to 500 low-rank soul stones. The total value was about 73,000 low-rank soul stones. Yi Qin did not intend to give away the secret books. Although there are a lot of things, they are not as valuable as the mid-rank Earth Realm secret books. If I give them to the sect, I can get 3,000 mid-rank soul stones, which is 150,000 low-rank soul stones. You should know the importance of the low-rank Earth realm secret books. It is enough to become the most important martial art of a rank 9 martial institution. Lung Wuching was stunned for a moment. What Yi Qin said was right. Mid-rank Earth realm secret books were not cabbages. An ordinary rank 9 sect would be lucky to have one, and an rank 8 sect would at most have 3. For example, although their barbarian devil sect was a rank 7 sect, they only had 5 or 6 mid-rank Earth realm secret books. Moreover, he had already seen most of them. 2 of them were cultivation techniques, such as his Earth devil body refining technique. One of them was a supplementary cultivation technique, while the other 2 were movement techniques and leg techniques. None of them were suitable for him. Otherwise, he would not have valued this secret book so much. Yi Qin continued, "If I give you this secret book, not only will you not suffer a loss, but you will also earn a lot. The higher-ups of the barbarian devil sect will definitely reward you with a large amount of low-rank soul stones or mid-rank soul stones. On the other hand, I will suffer a huge loss. Not only will I lose a secret book, I will also lose 77,000 low-rank soul stones. Don't you think so?" "Then what do you suggest?" Lung Wuching asked. "That's easy. I will read the contents of this secret book to you. You can memorize it and cultivate it when you go back. As for the real book, leave it with me." After hesitating for a moment, Lung Wuching agreed. Chapter 159. As a genius, his memory was extremely amazing. There were more than 8,000 words in this palm technique manual, and Lung Wuching had memorized them all by heart. As for the Zhen Qi circulation diagram, it was easy to draw it on a piece of cloth, which was not much different from the original manual. How about we join hands? I think there are more than 2 of us in the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. Putting away the manual, Yi Qin suddenly suggested. Lung Wuching responded, "This manual is more than enough. I don't want to fight for anything else." Yi Qin smiled faintly. This Lung Wuching was interesting. Although he was from an evil martial school, he was not as cruel and greedy as those evil martial artists. However, not all evil martial artists had the same personality. Some of them looked gentle on the outside, but were vicious on the inside. Some of them looked vicious on the outside, but had their own principles. This Lung Wuching should be one of those people who looked cold on the outside, but had principles on the inside. As for whether he was as heartless as his name suggested, no one knew. As Yi Qin stepped into the light door, Lung Wuching said again, "Not to mention, I don't have anything else to exchange for treasures." Ripples appeared on the light door, and Lung Wuching disappeared in it. "Maybe you will be the one who got the treasures this time." Yi Qin smiled bitterly and murmured to himself. After looking around and making sure that there was nothing else, Yi Qin carefully walked out of the room and came to the corridor outside. The corridor was connected to many rooms. It was even more labyrinthine than a maze, as if there was no end to it. "Let's just walk around." Yi Qin couldn't think of anything, so he had to try his luck. Corridor after corridor, room after room, upper floor, lower floor, within 2 hours he had walked more than 100 kilometers. Towards the end he was completely dizzy, unable to see where he was going. In another spacious room, there was a pool in the middle of the room. The pool was less than 10 zhang in radius, and there was a stone platform in the middle of the pool. On the stone platform there was a pure white light ball. Inside the light ball there was a saber with ancient patterns. The saber was still in its scabbard, but people could already feel that it was extraordinary. "Is this saber prepared for me?" "On the pool." Emo Wushua fell in love with this saber at first sight. His breath quickened. "HM." He turned his head and saw a man. It was the killer eagle, Yuan Hinging. "Yuan Hinging, what? Do you want to compete with me for the great blade?" Emo Wushua's face was filled with an evil and murderous aura, as if he was ready to kill Yuan Hinging at any moment. Yuan Hinging carefully went through the trap. He stepped on the pool and said, "Emo Wushua, this treasure doesn't belong to anyone. How can you say it's yours? Emo Wushua sneered. It seems like you not only want the blade, but also want to challenge my position. Very good. Today you will see blood. Hee, we don't know who's going to bleed yet. Do you really think that you can defeat me? I, Yuan Hinging, would like to see if you have improved or not. The two of them were not too far apart in terms of ranking, and their strengths were almost the same. Yuan Hing had never been afraid of his opponent, not to mention the temptation of treasures. Dai, who was Emo Wushua? He was as cruel and bloodthirsty as Yuan Hinging. It was just that he didn't like killing as much as Yuan Hinging. Therefore, once Yuan Hinging said those words, Emo Wushua had already decided to kill him. He unsheathed his great blade and released a blood-red beam of blade chi towards Yuan Hinging. Heavenly eagle art Dai. Yuan Hinging was prepared for this. He shook his body, and a Zhen Qi eagle rose from his body, blocking the blood-red beam of blade chi with one of its wings. Bang, bang, bang. Both of them clashed against each other, causing streams of water to shoot up from the pool. When the water stream was broken, Emo Wushua's face looked grim. He threw out 8 strikes in a row. Blood rain. The blade chi tore the air apart and let out a horrifying roar. Looking over, the pool was filled with a blood-red light, and the blood-red beams of light intertwined with each other like a giant net. The beams of light were trying to cut Yuan Hinging into dozens of pieces. Yuan Hinging sneered and said, Emo Wushua, if this is all you've got, you better give up the treasure. Otherwise, you won't just be bleeding today. I will make your head explode. After he finished talking, he let out a great shout towards the sky. Countless Zhen Qi eagles spread out. Their sharp claws crazily tore the blood-red beams of light, wave after wave. It's been about 3 months since I've tried to kill someone. I will let you know what it feels like to be killed by me, Emo Wushua. Both of them were extremely powerful. One was a bloodthirsty killer, the other was cold-blooded. The number of warriors who had died in their hands was more than 10,000. They had killed countless people, and the murderous aura released from their bodies could even scare ordinary warriors to death. At this moment, the two of them were fighting against each other. The pool was filled with horrible murderous aura, which created illusions of mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Blood beheading. While the battle was getting more and more intense, Emo Wushua suddenly made his move. He held the blade in his right hand and swung it down with all of his power. The pool suddenly caved in, and an invisible wave of blood-red chi enveloped Yuan Hinging. It then quickly transformed into an executioner's blade and swung down heavily. Crack! The Zhen Qi eagles outside of Yuan Hinging's body were shattered, and Yuan Hinging's life was hanging by a thread. Emo Wushua, I will let you have a taste of my most powerful attack, Demon Eagle World. Yuan Hinging's eyes were wide open. A dark cyan-colored Zhen Qi shot up into the sky and transformed into a pair of gigantic eagle claws. Once this pair of Zhen Qi eagle claws appeared, it gave people a sense of ancient evil, as if they were the claws of a devil. Boom! The executioner's blade was crushed into pieces, and the gigantic eagle claws were also destroyed. The horrifying shock waves stacked on top of each other and spread out in all directions, shattering the pure white light ball. Yuan Hinging, I will spare your life this time, but the next time I see you, I will make sure that you will die a horrible death. The white light ball was shattered, and the blade fell into Emo Wushua's hand. He quickly stepped on the ground and avoided the traps, but he still had the time to talk. However, his voice was obviously filled with killing intent. Yuan Hinging was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He was no weaker than Emo Wushua, and now that his treasure had been stolen, he felt so angry that he had nowhere to vent his anger. Emo Wushua, after I kill that little bastard, I will definitely kill you. Seeing that Emo Wushua had already walked to the light door, Yuan Hinging said, I will wait for you. Emo Wushua didn't even need to guess. He knew that Yuan Hinging and him were not the only two people in the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. There must be other people. If he wasn't mistaken, one of the 3 treasures might have already fallen into someone else's hands. Adding the blade in his hand, that would be 2 treasures. Although the last one was also tempting to him, Yuan Heng-ing had failed this time, which made him hate Yuan Heng-ying's guts. Yuan Heng-ing might use a move that would harm both of them, so Yuan Heng-ing had to be careful. Therefore, he directly left the heavenly dream battle palace through the light door. He had already gotten 1 treasure anyway. He might not be able to get the second one even if he stayed. Once Mo Wushua left, Yuan Heng-ing didn't have the time to be angry anymore. He rushed to the other places. He had to get one of the 3 treasures. Another half an hour passed. Yi Qin was a bit tired, not physically but mentally. These endless rooms and tunnels were exactly the same, which could easily give people the wrong impression and make them feel annoyed and unable to control their emotions. It was all thanks to his sword intent that he was able to stay calm all the time. The sword intent was invulnerable. Apart from being able to kill external devils, it could also kill internal devils and distracting thoughts. This was also the reason why all sword artists respected the sword intent so much. Not knowing how much time had passed, Yi Chen's walking posture froze. Buzz! 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 Far away from him, a faint vibration came over. Although it was very slight, Yi Chen, who had a sharp sense of perception, still managed to sense it. The second treasure! Quickening his steps, Yi Chen's clothes fluttered in the air. He turned left and right, and soon he disappeared. After a while, Yi Chen arrived in front of a room that was exactly the same as the previous one. Without any hesitation, he raised his foot and stepped into the room. The room was empty, but a huge platform was floating in the air. This platform didn't have any support. It was supported by a mysterious power, which made it as stable as a mountain. There was a meter-tall square platform on the platform, on top of which was a pure white light sphere. Inside the white light sphere, a dark golden book was floating in the middle. Another secret manual. Yi Chen was excited. While he was looking for treasures, he had been thinking about many things because he was bored. Although the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace seemed to have a lot of treasures, not every one of them was suitable for them. If this was the case, wouldn't the rewards be useless? Therefore, the 3 treasures that were opened in the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace might be suitable for each of them, or all of them. For example, the palm skill book was suitable for Lung Wuqing, but Yi Chen didn't know what kind of book the 3rd one was. It might be suitable for Lung Wuqing, or maybe for himself. Maybe it really is a martial skill book? The traps in this room were pure, white earth fire. The earth fire spurted out, and its attacking range was even greater than the white light thorns, covering a radius of a few meters. Fortunately, the number of traps in this room was much less than the previous one, which meant that people would always have space to dodge. Soon, Yi Chen arrived under the floating platform. He threw a low-rank spirit stone into the air. No traps were activated. It seemed that the area under the platform was a safe zone. After figuring this out, Yi Chen wasn't afraid anymore. He leapt into the air, put his palms, which were filled with Zhen Qi, on the bottom of the platform, and quickly moved to the edge of the platform, flipped his body, and was about to jump onto the platform. Puff! At this moment, a huge green hand made of Zhen Qi pressed down towards Yi Chen's body. The power of this hand was extremely condensed. Before it even reached Yi Chen's body, Yi Chen felt that all of his muscles and bones had tightened, as if they couldn't bear the pressure and were about to collapse. Yi Chen didn't panic. He put one of his hands on the platform and let his body hang in the air, while the other hand held the iron spear and swung it out. Boom! The huge hand made of Zhen Qi disappeared, and Yi Chen saw who it was. "Shuang Fei, it's you," said Yi Chen with a cold look. His opponent had launched a fatal attack as soon as he attacked. If it weren't for Yi Chen's powerful soul power, which allowed him to sense things that were way more powerful than other martial artists at the same level as him, and he had a faint premonition that this palm attack could kill him. Even if he didn't die, he would fall out of the platform's coverage and be burned into ashes by the earth fire. Yi Qin, this martial skill book is mine, said Zhuang Fei expressionlessly. Chapter 160. Give it to you? Just because you are the young Master Emerald? Since his opponent had already tried to kill him, Yi Qin would not show any mercy. A cold light flashed through Zhuang Fei's eyes. A couple of months ago, he did not take this guy seriously at all. But now that he had gained some power, he had become more and more arrogant. However, he was a bit surprised that his powerful palm attack did not hit him. Give me the manual, and I won't make things difficult for you, Zhuang Fei said indifferently as he secretly accumulated his true qi and prepared himself for a thunderous strike. You want the manual? Maybe you don't have it. Right then, Yi Qin had already landed on the platform. He shook his iron spear, and the tip of the spear, which contained the sword intent, easily broke the light ball open, and the manual was sucked into his hand. Seeing this, Zhuang Fei's killing intent was immediately revealed. Yi Qin did not care about him. He just stood on the platform. He opened the first page of the manual. The mysterious great art, a mid-rank earth realm martial art, divided into 11 levels. The first 2 levels are the foundation, and the third level is the palace. After that, with each level up, your Zhen Qi will be condensed by 30%. Once you reach the 11th level, you will be able to condense a mouthful of Supreme Jin Yuan, which can easily kill your enemies. Condense a mouthful of Supreme Zhan Yuan at the highest level? Reading this, Yi Qin was sure that the mysterious great art was the martial art that he needed, and it was even more powerful than he had expected. Now, not to mention the young Master Emerald, Zhuang Fei, even if a late clasping Yuan realm martial artist came, he would still kill him. Zhan Yuan could only be cultivated by astral reaching realm martial artists. Before reaching the astral reaching realm, all the martial artists cultivated Jin Qi. The two were only 1 word apart, but the power was completely different. If one could condense a mouthful of Jin Yuan before reaching the astral reaching realm, it would definitely be the ace of all ace attacks. No clasping Yuan realm martial artist would be able to block it, and would definitely be killed. Putting away the mysterious great art manual, Yi Qin was satisfied and was about to leave. Since you don't want to give me the manual, don't blame me for being cruel. Dodging the gushing earth fire one by one, Zhuang Fei arrived at the bottom of the platform. In the blink of an eye, he flipped himself over and stood on the platform. Yi Qin stood in place without moving. The room was full of traps, and it was impossible for him to leave quickly. Instead of doing something useless, he might as well wait here. He wanted to see how the other party was going to make him stay. You used to be the most powerful young warrior of the Windy Nation, but you're definitely not anymore. Let me shatter your glory. Without a sword in his hand, Yi Qin did not mind at all. With his sword intent and iron spear that were almost at the entry level, he could use about 80% of his power at his peak, which was more than enough to defeat Zhuang Fei. As for the reason why Zhuang Fei was so confident, it was probably because he did not expect that Yi Qin could still improve his sword intent. You're courting death, heavenly emerald palm. Zhuang Fei's body didn't move as he struck out with his palm. Soundlessly, the emerald green Jin Qi hand shot out, aiming straight for Yi Qin's face. Break! Yi Qin sneered. Like a poisonous snake, the iron spear pierced into the weak spot of the Zhen Qi giant hand. Pop! The Zhen Qi giant hand disappeared into thin air. Another weak spot attack. Before, when his palm attack was broken, Zhuang Fei had already sensed something. Now he was sure that Yi Qin had mastered a martial art that allowed him to discover weak spots. Now, let's see how you're going to break this. Green shadow light. Zhuang Fei yelled out while he threw out a series of attacks with both of his hands. Streams of emerald green Jin Qi giant hands attacked towards Yi Qin like green shadows. Their trajectories were unpredictable, and they would automatically adjust themselves in the middle of the attack. No matter how powerful you are, I can still break it, Yi Qin used his spear as a sword. He shook the tip of the spear and launched the sky cloud sword art, which had the widest range of attack. The crimson spear light shot straight up, crazily twisting the airflow. Using the power of rotation, it formed a giant tornado. What was surprising was that this tornado contained fire origin energy, and its color was gradually dyed crimson, bringing with it a blazing heat as it swept out. Within a moment, those emerald green Jin Qi giant hands were all broken, and the tornado, which had shrunk a little bit, was still roaring towards Zhuangfei. While the two were fighting, the scorching ancient desert was not peaceful at all. After Lang Wuqing and Emma Wushue were sent out of the desert, all the people from the top martial institutions started discussing with each other. As for the multiple mountain martial schools elders, their faces were all darkened. They were sure that it was almost impossible for Hong Qianjun to still be alive. Who killed Hong Qianjun? Is it a powerful hidden dragon, ranked martial artist? No matter who killed Hong Qianjun, once we find out who it is, we will kill him without mercy. The multiple mountain martial schools elder didn't lower his voice on purpose. Therefore, his words were clearly heard by all the other martial institutions. I can't believe that Hong Qianjun, ranked 69th in the Hidden Dragon ranked, has fallen. He was an early clasping yuan realm martial artist. He was powerful enough to rival ordinary mid-clasping yuan realm martial artists. To be honest, I really want to know who killed him. I think it was 80% likely that it was a powerful hidden dragon ranked martial artist. Only they are powerful enough to kill him. The 3 ranked in the top 60 are the most likely suspects. Who are you? Emma Wushue, Xue Hen, and Yuan Hinging. Indeed, think about it, except for them, who else could kill Hong Qianjun? Even if the other hidden dragon ranked martial artists were slightly more powerful, they might not be able to do it. On the Sky Cloud Martial School side, Lu Hanshan let out a long breath and said, Emma Wushue and Lang Wuqing have come out. Now only Brother Yi, Zhuangfei, and Yuan Hinging are left in the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace. What took them so long? Is it that hard to break into the clasping yuan realm? Zhu Mei and Su Jing were also confused. The head elder suddenly thought of something and said, Did they pass all the tests and start to fight for the 3 treasures? Zhu Mei was shocked and said, Passed all the tests? I remember that no one has done it for the past 100 years. Indeed, no one has done it for the past 100 years. But during the past 100 years, the current generation of young martial artists are the most talented ones. Therefore, it's not impossible for them to pass all the tests. Otherwise, they wouldn't have spent so much time. They should have come out long ago. The 4th elder said. Lu Hanshan nodded and asked, Passing all the tests is extremely difficult. The 3 treasures in the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace must be very precious, right? The head elder said, Of course it's precious. The most powerful martial art of our Sky Cloud Martial School is the great Rudra divine art, which was obtained by the 3rd generation leader of our Sky Cloud Martial School in the Heavenly Dream Ancient region over 100 years ago. No one except the leader or the leader's successor is qualified to learn it. The great Rudra divine art was obtained from the Heavenly Dream Ancient region. This was the first time for Lu Hanshan to hear about this. As for the power of the great Rudra divine art, he had already witnessed it. With the help of his Zhen Qi, the great Rudra divine art could evaporate a river without leaving a trace. A few Purple Sun martial school elders kept glancing at the people from the Sky Cloud Martial School. Seeing their strange expressions, they couldn't help but guess. That swordsman from the Sky Cloud Martial School hasn't come out yet. Did he die in there? I'm afraid it's not that simple. I've never heard that the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace would kill people on their own initiative. Therefore, he was either sent out or stayed in there. But he hasn't come out yet. The answer is obvious. What I'm most worried about is that he has passed all the tests. If he has passed all the tests, the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace will open 3 treasures. These 3 treasures are invaluable. If he gets them, he might harm our Purple Sun Martial School. After all, the treasures that come out of the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace are the best of the best. They're even more precious than the same level treasures in the outside world. If it's a treasure, that's fine, but if it's a mid-rank Earth realm martial art, it would definitely be a top-grade martial art of the Purple Sun Martial School, which is even more powerful than ordinary mid-rank Earth realm martial arts. The face of the head elder of the Purple Sun Martial School turned darker and darker. This kid hasn't grown up yet, but he has already made us feel so uneasy. If we don't kill him, the Purple Sun Martial School will face a great disaster sooner or later. It seems that we have to send all the leaders of the hunting hall out to make sure that we can kill him with a single strike. Indeed, Zhu Liang is already too weak. I'm afraid that he can't rival that kid. Inside the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace, Zhuang Fei was shocked. He didn't think that Yi Chen could still be so powerful after losing his sword. How is this possible? Is his sword intent really that powerful? Seeing the blood-red tornado roaring towards him along with beams of spear light, Zhuang Fei's intent of killing grew even stronger. He sensed a great threat from Yi Chen, which made him feel quite uncomfortable. Break! Zhen Qi swooshed up into the air. A silhouette of a mountain shrouded Zhuang Fei up. He remained motionless like a mountain, while his palms let out streams of river-like streams of power. Those streams of power were incomparably powerful, and even the airflow above the platform was punctured and exploded. What kind of martial art is this? Mountain, water. Could it be the great art of mountain and water? Yi Chen had heard from the head elder that the first leader of the Emerald Martial Palace had found a broken piece of the great art of mountain and water in the Mountain and Water Pavilion. The great art of mountain and water was a high-rank Earth realm martial art, and even though it was just a broken piece, it was still a mid-rank Earth realm martial art. Its power was not hard to imagine. It was definitely horrifying, even more powerful than the great Rudra magic art of the Sky Cloud Martial School. The crimson tornado was dispersed, and the torrential palm energy rushed forward with an indomitable will. Yi Chen laughed out loud. He didn't seem to care about it. Unstable cloud. Limitless cloud. Sword of impermanence. Sword of mist. Using the spear as a sword, Yi Chen didn't step back. Instead, he moved forward. While shaking the spear, he launched the sword movements of the shocking cloud sword art. Stimulated by his sword intent, countless spear lights were shot out. Not only did they cut open the torrential stream of palm power, they also hit on the silhouette of the mountain outside of Zhuang Fei's body. The silhouette of the mountain was shattered. Under the attack of Yi Chen's sword intent, Zhuang Fei's great art of mountain and water didn't work. After all, he had only reached the 8th level of the great art of mountain and water, which meant that he couldn't release the most powerful power of the great art of mountain and water. Moreover, before this, Yi Chen had broken Hong Qianjuan's great art of mountain and water, although it was extremely difficult for him to break it. Puff! Spurting out a mouthful of blood, Zhuang Fei yelled out, "Yuan Hinging, I know you're outside. Do you want to see us both get hurt?" "Haha!" Along with a creepy laughter, Yuan Hinging showed up in the room and said, "Zhuang Fei, I don't think you're qualified to fight against this little bastard. I'm afraid you can't stop him either." Zhuang Fei boosted up his Zhen Qi and condensed the silhouette of the mountain again, temporarily stopping Yi Chen. Yi Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. He had already found out that Yuan Hinging was outside, but he pretended that he didn't know because he wanted to kill Zhuang Fei first. Yuan Hinging paused slightly. To be honest, he wasn't sure that he could stop Yi Chen. After he reached the clasping Yuan realm, Yi Chen's power was even more terrifying than his own. He was definitely a freak. However, the more powerful he was, the more he wanted to kill Yi Chen. He couldn't let him keep improving. "What do you mean? You and I will fight together." Yuan Hinging tried to test Zhuang Fei. Zhuang Fei said coldly, "Those who want to achieve great things don't care about trifles." Chapter 161. What a good don't bother with trifles. But I really want to know, how should we divide the martial arts manuals? You and I will each take half, and we will keep the other half in our minds. What do you think? All right, it's a deal. Yuan Hengying's body kept flashing, avoiding the ground fire. Zhanqi eagles shot out of his body one after another, flying towards Yi Qin, who was on the platform. Seeing this, Zhuang Fei knew that Yuan Hengying had agreed, so he did not dare to hesitate. He pushed the Zhanqi in his meridians to its limit, making the silhouette of the mountain even more condensed and crystal-like. He then threw out streams of palm power that looked like rivers, which merged with the Zhanqi eagles and attacked fiercely. Today, you two have to leave something behind before you leave. Yi Qin did not back out. Instead, a sharp qi shot up into the sky, like a great sword that was about to be pulled out of its sheath and start a bloody massacre. Break! Driven by the powerful sword intent, the red flame on the iron spear suddenly extended out. It compressed and lengthened, eventually turning into a scorching red fire sword. The fire sword let out a long roar and heavily hacked on the weak spot between the Zhanqi eagles and the palm power. Swoosh! A cloth-tearing sound was heard. The red fire sword was so powerful that it broke the combined attack of Yuan Hengying and Zhuang Fei with only one sword attack. Yuan Hengying, who had just stood on the platform, suddenly changed his expression. Yi Chen was even more powerful than he had expected. Using a spear as a sword, he was still able to block the combined attack of the two of them. If he had a low-rank great sword, he would not even need to fight anymore. Fortunately, a spear was a spear. It could never become a sword. Zhuang Fei, you don't have to hide anymore. If we don't use our final trump card, it's absolutely impossible to kill him. Our lives might even be in danger. While speaking, Yuan Hengying slightly spread his feet, and a dark cyan-colored Jin Qi burst out, forming a pair of gigantic eagle claws on both sides of his body. This pair of eagle claws was cyan with a hint of black, releasing an ancient evil power, which was extremely shocking. Flooding mountains. Hearing this, the shadow of the mountain outside of Zhuang Fei's body suddenly collapsed, turning into a torrential flood. The flood formed a spiral shape, surging around Zhuang Fei. Its momentum was astonishing, as if it would pounce out at any time and drown everything in its sight. It turned out that the mountain and water grade art could not only be used for both offense and defense, but it could also be turned into a full offense or a full defense. The full offense was the flooding the mountain, which could turn the power of the mountain into a torrent of water and attack the enemy. However, although the full offense was powerful, its defense was quite weak. It was not much more powerful than a normal early-class Bingyuan realm martial artist, and could easily be hit by unexpected attacks. As for the full defense, Zhuang Fei had not mastered it yet. He would need to reach the 9th level of the mountain and water grade art to be able to do it. Otherwise, his defense would not have been broken by Yi Qin with only one spear attack. Rumble. The two of them did not hold back in the slightest, and immediately blasted out their strongest attacks. A gigantic eagle claw tore through the air, bringing with it a demonic aura as it grabbed towards Yi Qin. Then, a torrential palm energy surged forth, even more powerful than before. Bang, 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 bang. The iron spear held in Yi Chen's hand was 2 and 3 meters long. Added with the red flame sword, it was 4 meters long. As Yi Chen waved his arm, the red flame sword turned into countless afterimages, hacking on the gigantic eagle claw and the powerful palm energy, bringing up thousands of fire sparks. After a while, Yi Chen abruptly shook off the eagle claw with one spear attack. The red flame sword on the iron spear fell off and darted toward Zhuang Fei like a shooting star. Damn it! Zhuang Fei was enraged. This was the moment when his defense was at its weakest. Once he was hit, he would die for sure. Without any time to think, he hurriedly threw out 2 streams of powerful palm energy towards the flame sword. Pop! Pop! The palm energy was pierced through one after another, and the flame sword was shattered as well. It turned into a fierce wave of fire that swallowed Zhuang Fei, burning him. Yuan Heng seized the opportunity when Yi Chen was fighting against Zhuang Fei and was about to launch a fierce attack. Suddenly, an explosive power came from under his feet, which nearly sent him flying. Fortunately, he had already activated all of his Jin Qi, which allowed him to stomp on the ground and extinguish the explosive power. That was close. Yuan Heng still had a lingering fear. Indeed, the explosive power couldn't hurt him, but it could push him off the platform. However, the platform was full of traps. If he was slightly careless, he would be burned by the ground fire or killed or teleported out of the heavenly dream battle palace. He didn't want to see either of these two things. Yi Chen also felt that it was a pity. The earth explosion that he had obtained from the Bloody Butcher was at a low level. It was a great help to him in the early stages, but now it could only barely help him and couldn't do anything to Yuan Heng, who was protected by an earth realm martial art. Puff! The flame was torn apart, and Zhuang Fei walked out from it. Except for looking a bit embarrassed, he didn't seem to be injured at all. However, by now, the two of them were more and more shocked. Yi Chen was unbelievably powerful. He was fighting against two people at the same time, but he still had the upper hand. If it weren't for the fact that both of them had their own special skills, it would be hard for them to hold on. However, it was almost impossible for them to defeat Yi Chen with this kind of power. At this moment, Yi Chen's feet didn't leave the ground, and he launched the last movement of the Shocking Cloud sword art. Supreme Shocking Cloud! Holding the iron spear in his right hand, Yi Chen swung it straight down, silently and lightly, without even a trace of smoke or flame, as if he was brushing away the clouds with his bare hands. Pa! Thunder boomed. This spear seemed to be light, yet it released an extremely terrifying power. It was like a thunderbolt striking down on a sunny day, which made people feel like they were fighting against each other. Zhuang Fei and Yuan Heng didn't even have the chance to dodge before they were hit by the red spear light. Their protective Zhen Qi was shattered instantly, and they both puked out a mouthful of blood and were sent flying towards the platform. The pure white earth flame burst out, and the two of them disappeared instantly. On the platform, Yi Chen shook his head. It turned out that this earth flame couldn't kill people. It could only send people out. However, it was not the right time to kill the two of them. The current Sky Cloud Martial School couldn't afford to take this responsibility. After all, the Sky Eagle Castle Martial School and the Emerald Martial Palace were both rank 7 martial institutions and were extremely powerful. Now that their top disciple had been killed, the leaders of the martial school would definitely not let it go. The light door in the cyan light opened again, and 2 human silhouettes flew out. Yuan Heng, Zhuang Fei, the elders of the Sky Eagle Castle Martial School and the Emerald Martial Palace Martial School both yelled out. However, when they saw the wounds on the two of them and the large amount of blood coming out of their mouths and noses, they couldn't help but be stunned. Yuan Heng, what happened? Who hurt you? The head elder of the Sky Eagle Castle Martial School asked with a gloomy face. Head elder, let's talk when we get back. Yuan Heng didn't want to tell the truth in front of everyone. It would be too embarrassing. 2 hidden dragon rank martial artists had been beaten by a young martial artist to the point of vomiting blood and had almost died. No matter what, it was not a glorious thing, and it would greatly affect his reputation. On the other side, Zhuang Fei didn't want to talk about it either. On the Evil Blood Martial School's side, Emma Wushua was shocked. Yuan Heng's power was not weaker than his, and Zhuang Fei was also a hidden dragon rank martial artist. How could they be wounded so badly? Could it be that they had fought against each other, and both of them were badly wounded? This was the most reasonable explanation. I wonder who has the rest of the treasures. Emma Wushua was a bit regretful. If he had known that there were only these 2 people, he might have tried to get the other 2 treasures, even if it was just one. The light door opened again, and another human silhouette flew out. Who? Who else is in there? All the young hidden dragon rank martial artists should have come out by now. Could it be that he is the real culprit who injured Yuan Hing and Zhuang Fei? All the elders from the top martial institutions started discussing, while the multiple mountain martial schools elders popped their eyes out. They all hoped that it was Hong Qianjun who had gone missing. People from the Sky Cloud Martial School were clearly aware that the last person was definitely Yi Qin. As for Hong Qianjun, he had been killed by Yi Qin long ago, and there was no such person anymore. Shoo! The silhouette stood on the sand wearing a moon-white long robe. The unique cloud pattern of the Sky Cloud Martial School was embroidered on the sleeves. A disciple of the Sky Cloud Martial School. Except for a small number of people, the others were all confused. They had all kinds of guesses, but none of them had ever thought that it would be a nameless disciple of the Sky Cloud Martial School. Before this, none of them had ever heard of this person. No, he was the last one to come out, which meant that he had passed all the tests, participated in the competition for the 3 treasures, and came out unscathed. In that case, was Yuan Hing and Zhuang Fei injured by this person? It shouldn't be possible. Some elders shook their heads. They didn't believe that the 2 young hidden dragon-ranked martial artists could be injured by this person, not even if they were beaten to death. A cold beam of light flashed across the multiple mountain martial schools' head elders' eyes. No one knew what he was thinking. Brother Yi, you're out. Lu Hanshan let out a sigh of relief. The competition for the 3 treasures was different than before. He didn't need to fight against the rest of the people. He was truly afraid that Yi Qin might have died in there. Yi Qin nodded, flashed across the air, and arrived at the Sky Cloud Martial School's area. The head elder glanced at Yi Qin, smiled, and said, "Are you all right?" Yi Qin glanced at Zhuang Fei and Yuan Hing and said, "I'm all right. I got out unscathed." "Good, that's good." "Oh, right. Did you hurt Zhuang Fei and Yuan Hing?" In fact, the head elder didn't really believe Yi Qin's words, but it was better for him to ask. Hesitating for a while, Yi Qin nodded again. "They were really hurt by you." The other Sky Cloud Martial School's inner elders gasped in shock. Luo Hanshan laughed and said, "Brother Yi, you've stepped into the clasping Yuan realm. Your power has improved tremendously. In a one-on-one fight, it wouldn't be surprising for you to injure Zhuang Fei and Yuan Hing, but it would be strange if you couldn't beat them." He thought that Yi Qin had beaten Zhuang Fei and Yuan Hing respectively. He didn't really believe it. He thought that the elders were making a fuss about nothing. The head elder was slightly surprised, but soon calmed himself down. He realized that Yi Qin had already attained the sword intent and had also stepped into the clasping Yuan realm. His power had definitely improved by leaps and bounds. It wouldn't be a big deal for him to beat the last hidden dragon ranked martial artists. Without any accidents, Yi Qin would definitely have a place in the next hidden dragon rank competition in a year and a half, and no one would be able to stop him. "Huh. Kid, have you seen the top-ranked disciple of our multiple mountain martial school, Hong Qianjun?" At this moment, a voice came from the multiple mountain martial school's head elder. Seeing that Yi Qin was the last one to come out, he immediately became suspicious. He felt that Yi Qin was the biggest suspect. He immediately walked towards Yi Qin step by step, while releasing a strong sense of power. Luo Hanshan's facial expression changed. Chapter 162. Yi Qin had activated his sword intent, so he wasn't affected by the pressure released from the multiple mountain martial school's power. He responded calmly, "I don't know him." "Nonsense. Our multiple mountain martial school's top-ranked disciple, Hong Qianjun, is a young hidden dragon ranked martial artist. How could you not know him? Did you sneakily attack him and kill him?" "Head elder, no need to say more. Let's take him back to the multiple mountain martial school." "Indeed, I don't believe that he can still talk like this under the torture. Cripple this kid first." The multiple mountain martial school's elders were all filled with killing intent. Even if Yi Qin wasn't the murderer, they still wouldn't let him go. Since when did you multiple mountain martial school have the right to bully our sky, cloud, martial school's disciples? A strong sense of power rose from the air, along with which the sky, cloud, martial school's head elder slowly walked out. Although his pair of wrinkled eyes were slightly blurry, they were still as sharp as steel needles. Hearing the head elder, an inner elder of the multiple mountain martial school said scornfully, "What is your sky, cloud, martial school status? What is our multiple mountain martial school status? Now, your sky, cloud, martial school's disciple is suspected of killing our top-ranked disciple, so we have to take him back. No one can stop us. I advise you'd better cooperate with us. Don't bring trouble to our sky, cloud, martial school, or you'll regret it." The sky, cloud, martial school's fourth elder and the head elder stood side by side, with their eyes popped out in anger. What a joke! If you take Yi Qin away today, our sky, cloud, martial school's reputation would be ruined. Don't even think about it. Whoever dares to touch him will kill him. The multiple mountain martial school's head elder snorted coldly while releasing a great sense of power, which even caused the desert surface to sink. Kill you as easy as killing a dog. Kid, come over. Swoosh. After saying that, he waved his hand and released a terrifying suction force. The sand around Yi Qin was sucked into the suction force, while Yi Qin felt weightless and couldn't control his own body anymore. Cut! A fiery red sword condensed on the iron spear and hacked at the air in front of Yi Qin along with an unstoppable sword intent, cutting off the suction force. The multiple mountain martial school's head elder knitted his eyebrows, pulled his right hand back, and released the suction force again. This time, the suction force was twice as strong as before, and even the 10-meter deep sand was rolled up. You're going too far. Freeze! The head elder of the Sky Cloud Martial School was furious. He took a step forward and released his Zhen Qi, locking onto the space where Yi Chen was. No matter how strong the suction force was, it was impossible for him to move. You're courting death. A khaki-colored, gigantic palm made of Zhen Qi suddenly darted out, smashing towards the Sky Cloud Martial School's head elder. Wherever it passed by, the sand surface would be blasted out layer by layer, and huge, tens of meters thick and tens of meters tall sand pillars would rise into the air. The multiple mountain martial school's head elder was the first one to launch the attack. He had cast the same mountain-shattering stamp as Hong Qianjun had cast. However, in his hands, this mountain-collapsing seal was many times more powerful than Hong Qianjun's. With a single palm strike, it was powerful enough to shatter mountains and crack the earth. Purple light, cave heaven. The great elder's clothes fluttered even though there was no wind. He slightly lowered his center of gravity and pointed out a finger that seemed slow but was actually fast. Puchi! The purple ray of light condensed and pierced through the huge palm made of khaki-colored jinqi, making a sizzling sound. Look, the multiple mountain martial school and the Sky Cloud Martial School are fighting. The multiple mountain martial school is so arrogant. They haven't even proved that it was the Sky Cloud Martial School's disciple who killed Hong Qianjun. Yet they want to take him back. Clearly, they don't take the Sky Cloud Martial School seriously. Exactly. They've already taken him back. Even if he doesn't die, he'll still have to be tortured to make a confession. The Multiple Mountain Martial School is a Rank 7 martial institution from the White Mystery Nation, a mid-tier country. They are very powerful and have always been arrogant. The Sky Cloud Martial School can only blame their bad luck for offending them. I think the Sky Cloud Martial School is going to fail this time. A peerless genius emerged from a Rank 9 martial institution. It's inevitable that people will be jealous of him. The Multiple Mountain Martial School might have the same thought. To be honest, even I am jealous of him. That move he launched just now, which cut off the suction force, clearly contained the sword intent. That's why he was able to pass all the tests of the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace and compete for the 3 treasures. The other elders were either angry or scared, but most of them were jealous. Why didn't their martial institutions have a peerless genius who had comprehended the sword intent? Move. Kill. How dare you go against our multiple mountain martial school? This time the multiple mountain martial school had sent 11 inner elders and tens of outer elders, all of whom were above the mid-clasping Yuan realm. Seeing the head elder and the Sky Cloud Martial School's head elder, they couldn't hold back their killing intent and rushed out. Everyone from the Sky Cloud Martial School, kill! The 4th elder roared out while a raging flame rose from his body, scorching the sand and turning it into black crystals. 4th elder, take this spear. Yi Chen's blood was boiling inside his body, but his mind was still clear. No matter in terms of overall power or individual power, the multiple mountain martial school's head elder was more powerful than him. Fortunately, although the Sky Cloud Martial School was a rank 9 martial institution, it was as powerful as a rank 8 martial institution. Compared to the multiple mountain martial school, which was a rank 7 martial institution, the Sky Cloud Martial School wouldn't be a pushover. Yi Chen knew that the 4th elder was a cultivator of fire Jin Qi, and the low-ranked spear was perfect for him. Without thinking, he threw the spear towards the 4th elder. Low-ranked spear? The 4th elder caught the spear with one hand and immediately sensed the great fire power contained in the spear. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. There were many treasures in this world, but unfortunately, there were even more martial artists. Not every clasping Yuan realm martial artist had a good treasure, and the 4th elder was one of them. Now that he had a low-ranked spear in his hand, he wouldn't even be afraid of peak-level late clasping Yuan realm martial artists. Boom! The spear swung horizontally, releasing a scorching red flame that transformed into a sky-devouring wave of fire. It immediately pushed back the 2 multiple mountain martial school's inner elders, who had been rushing towards him. 7th elder, 9th elder, the short blade and the dagger are for you. The 7th elder and the 9th elder were experts in using blades and assassinations, respectively. The low-ranked short blade and dagger, given by Lung Wuqing, were perfect for them. Therefore, Yi Chen gave them to the 2 elders one by one. 3 low-ranked treasures. You have to know that only a few of us elders have treasures. Only a few of us have found treasures that are suitable for us from the treasuries of our institutions. Those that are not suitable for us won't improve our powers at all. For example, if you ask a sword user to use a blade, even if it's a low-ranked great blade, it won't be as good as an ordinary great sword. It's very hard to find a suitable treasure. Many people use them for their whole lives. All the onlookers popped up their eyes and gasped in shock. Last time in the Northwest Auction House, the reason why Lynch was able to buy the low-ranked great blade, the air-splitting blade, was that the elder who used blades didn't want to compete with them. After all, Lynch would definitely become the backbone of the North Snow Martial Academy in the future. Therefore, the elder of the North Snow Martial Academy had to show some respect to him. Although the other elders didn't have to show respect to Lynch. If they went to the auction house, the elder of the North Snow Martial Academy would definitely go as well. If they bought the air-splitting blade, they would still give it to Lynch as a reward. Therefore, unless it was a big auction where all the treasures were gathered, the elders would rarely show up. Only in small auctions would the disciples from all the top institutions compete with each other. Good blade. Good dagger. The eyes of the 7th elder and the 9th elder shone, and they both showed a faint smile. In fact, Yi Chen still had a low-ranked great blade, but it was in his storage ring, which was still in the head elder's storage ring. Therefore, no matter what, he couldn't disturb the head elder. In a battle between powerful martial artists, a slight carelessness could result in the defeat of the head elder. Without a doubt, it would be a huge blow to the head elder, who was the backbone of the group in order to take out a low-ranked Great Blade. Yi Chen knew what he should do. The battle between the two institutions started. Nearly 100 mid-clasping Yuan realm martial artists and above had been fighting against each other. It was a spectacular scene. However, only 1/3 of them had low-ranked great weapons, while the others were either barehanded or only had ordinary weapons. What they were fighting against was their mastery of martial arts. Little Brat Dai, all of a sudden, an elder of the multiple mountain martial school, leapt towards Yi Chen and threw a kick towards him. Boom! The ground collapsed. Layer after layer of cracks appeared on the ground. Without a sword, Yi Chen madly activated the crane shadow steps and stepped back. He didn't dare to take the attack head-on. Where do you think you're going? This elder was the multiple mountain martial school's outer head elder. He was a peak-level, mid-clasping Yuan realm martial artist, only one step away from becoming an inner head elder. Under his full power, Yi Chen, who didn't have a sword in his hand, was no match for him at all. Brother Yi, take this. Zhu Mei saw that Yi Chen was in a bad situation, so she hurriedly threw her low-ranked great sword, the hidden fragrance sword, to Yi Chen. As for Su Jing, who had always been aggressive, she didn't join the fight. Instead, she stood in front of Zhu Mei and Luo Hanshan, in case any sneak attacks from the multiple mountain martial schools elders might launch. Yi Chen seemed to have eyes on the back of his head. He didn't even need to look at Zhu Mei and Luo Hanshan. He gripped the hilt of the hidden fragrance sword. Nice sword. In fact, the effect of a great weapon was limited. It could at most increase the attacking power by 10%, but it wouldn't be able to change the overall situation. However, the most important thing about a great weapon was its toughness, which made it very hard to break. The higher a martial artist's cultivation was, the more powerful his Zhen Qi would be. Ordinary weapons could no longer withstand the circulation of Zhen Qi and would be broken after a few times of use. Once a martial artist reached the astral reaching realm, his Zhen Qi would transform into Zhen Yuan, and any ordinary weapon would shatter upon contact with it. Only low-ranked great weapons could barely allow astral-reaching realm martial artists to fully activate their Zhen Yuan, and mid-ranked great weapons would be the best. So what if you have a low-ranked great sword? You will still die. The multiple mountain martial school's outer head elder grinned. While in the air, he launched 18 kicks in a row. Each kick was as heavy as a small mountain, smashing down towards Yi Chen. Swirling wind. The hidden fragrance sword was slim and long. It wasn't suitable for Yi Chen, but it was still much better than the low-ranked great spear and the hidden cloud sword. He gripped the sword with his right hand and swung it, leaving a beautiful arc in the air. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sharp and long sword Qi swooshed straight up, stirred up the airflow in the desert, and finally formed a huge tornado. The tornado sucked the sand into it, then transformed into an even more terrifying tornado, rumbling towards the 18 mountain-like silhouettes of Yi Chen's legs. Boom! Yellow sand poured down from the sky. The tornado was shattered, and the 18 silhouettes of Yi Chen's legs also disappeared. Lose! With the hidden fragrance sword in his hand, the sharp Qi on his body was unstoppable. It was like a peerless great sword that had been sharpened, tearing apart the atmosphere. His tornado-broken clouds had been shattered, but he did not care at all. Tapping his foot on the ground, he floated in the air like a cloud. Then the hidden fragrance sword slashed down without any trace of attack. It's that move. Yuan Hingying and Zhuang Fei were both frightened. They were both defeated by this move. They didn't even have the chance to fight back.